Minnesota. Hockey is spoken daily here, even in the summer. USA hockey with stars and stripes and sweat because the game with Finland's next.
USA!
Michigan-born Mike Modano and Massachusetts product Keith Tkachuk have helped Team USA capture magic just when the Americans needed it most. Just when they needed a spark. Just before the lose-and-go-home round began. Now the Americans face an impressive Finnish team, led by Stanley Cup finalist goalie Mika Kiprasov. It's the U.S. and Finland next on ESPN2. Xcel Energy Center, where hockey occurs year-round here. Summer leagues, winter leagues. When you grow up here, you wind up playing hockey just after you learn to walk and you become a fan of a team like the United States. With home confidence from the crowd, with momentum against a team like Finland that hasn't lost yet. Greetings, everybody. Along with Bill Clement and Jeremy Roenick, I'm Mike Emmerich here tonight. Excitement at Xcel Center because it's a semifinal match. The winner goes on to play next Tuesday in Toronto for all the marbles of the World Cup of Hockey. This is going to be great fun tonight. It's the United States, having beaten Russia now, going up against a team that a lot of people, Bill, don't know a whole lot about. What are your impressions of Finland?
They're really good, and that's what people are going to find out seeing them for the first time here on North American ice. They've got great depth. They've got great tenacity. They're wonderful defensively. They've got firepower. The word that I think, though, best describes them is balance on both sides of the puck. You only have to look at their top line to see the balance. Saku Koivu is the center on their top line. He overcame cancer to battle back into an NHL career a couple of years ago. Jere Lehtinen has been the best defensive forward 3 separate years in the NHL. And Teemu Selanne provides the firepower. He led the NHL in goal scoring 3 different seasons. So question at some point becomes, what does Team USA do about it? 2 guys that have risen on the depth chart on the blue line for Team USA, both play for the New Jersey Devils, Paul Martin and Brian Rafalski. They don't come with a big physical game, but they have great mobility and puck-moving skills to negate that big line from Finland. So any way you look at it, Team USA is going to have a tough struggle here.
Well, you talked about stoppers and Jeremy Roenick. This is a Finland team that's only given up 5 goals in 4 games. They'll have some challenges in terms of stopping, too, though, from USA.
Well, you just heard the line that Bill Clement just said. But what about a line that the USA has? Mike Modano, Keith Tkachuk, Bill Guerin. Now, let me tell you something. You don't have a line that possesses every category that you need to be successful. Talent, speed, grit, determination. These 3 got it all. Against the Russians, they were a 1-man wrecking crew, a 3-man wrecking crew. 4 goals, Keith Tkachuk, 4 assists from Mike Modano. They're awesome. I'm telling you what, tonight they have to be even better because they're playing the best defensive team, I think, in the tournament. Not only defensively on the blue line, but the whole team. The whole team plays strong, compact. You won't see too much forechecking, but and once they get past those guys, in my opinion, Mike Kiprasov is the best goaltender in the tournament, and they have to work really hard to get it by him tonight.
Well, Mika Kiprasov at one end and your old buddy from Philadelphia, Robert Esche, at the other. This should be a lot of fun tonight coming up. If you hearken back to 1980, these 2 teams met in a game that the United States had to have to win the gold medal. They beat Finland. Minnesota-born Herb Brooks coached them. They won that one. Will they win this one, though? We'll see. Here at Xcel Energy Center in St. Paul, the fans warming to this one. We go down to the benches. Finland's Teemu Selanne is alongside Joe Micheletti. Joe?
Teemu Selanne, the Finnish Flash. Teemu, first of all, your coach said yesterday, Raimo Suominen, that this is the biggest game in the history of Finnish hockey. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. You know, every time when the best play against best, it's a huge thing, and being Final Four, it's a big thing for us, but I think this team is ready to do even more.
What's the key for your team tonight?
I think we just want to play our system, and we have been talking about our day, and we know if we can play our best, you know, we can beat everybody. So, and if we can do that, we can live with that, even if we lose. So, it's a big challenge for us.
There's been a lot of talk about your team having to fly over here and recover from that long flight. Is your team recovered?
Well, it's not the best situation, but we don't complain. It's a big challenge to go out and just play our level and see what happens.
We appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thanks.
Now let's send it over to Team USA bench and Bill Clement. Bill?
Joe, thanks very much. The other night, Keith Tkachuk of Team USA pretty well single-handedly demolished Team Russia, but you and Mike Modano and Billy Guerin looked like a big wave. that just is getting bigger. What's the key ingredient that makes this unit work as a line?
I think the simple thing is get the puck to Mike Modano, let him do his magic. You know, me and Billy can work the corners and go to the net because eventually the puck's going to be there.
I thought you were going to say you scoring is the key.
No, they were all tapping, so those guys did all the work.
Tell us about Team Finland. I know you haven't faced them yet. This is their first game in North America, but your coaching staff has naturally well prepared you. What is the most underrated thing that Team Finland brings to the ice surface?
Well, they're a lot feistier than the typical European teams. They got a lot of skill, obviously, a lot of speed, and they're going to come at you and try to agitate you a little bit, but we got to stay on our game, get it deep, and make them pay the price.
Keith, thank you. Good luck.
Anytime.
Keith Tkachuk, Team USA. Only 4 teams left in the World Cup of Hockey. In a moment, we'll whittle that down by 1, or at least the process will begin. Now we'll send you to the studio and David Amber and Barry Melrose. Gentlemen.
All right, he called you gentlemen. You got to like that.
Not very often Billy does that.
Yeah, Barry Melrose, David Amber, great to have you along. This Finnish team, very disciplined. No one's beaten them yet. They've outscored opponents 13-5. What, if anything, should the U.S. be fearing?
Well, first off, I love Jeremy Roenick, but the only way Mika Kiprusoff's the best goalie in the tournament is if Canada doesn't use any of their 3 goalies, because the 3 goalies Canada's got are all better than Mika Kiprusoff. The Finns play a very non-aggressive game. They pack in the neutral zone. They don't forecheck, as the guys were mentioning. What you got to be careful of are turnovers. They're all great defensively. Really, Timo Solani is the only Finnish player that's offense first, offense second, offense third. The rest of the guys stress defense first. No turnovers in neutral zone. Keith Tkachuk mentioned, get the puck deep, make those guys play defense. The Americans are bigger, more physical players. When the Americans play that way with passion, with character, with courage, they're a very, very tough team to beat. If they start being passive and not aggressive, then the Finn style of play will take over. America got to attack. They cannot play on their heels. No North American player can play on their heels. North American players are aggressive, they're mean, they're nasty. This team has to play the way against the Finns.
Barry, if I told you before the tournament that 4 games in, Mike Modano, Tony Amonte, Doug Wade, and Chris Drury would have a combined 0 goals, I don't think we'd think the U.S. would still be in this tournament. Who needs to step up tonight?
Well, 3 guys, I think, have to step up. And one name you didn't mention is Brian Leetch. I think Brian Leetch is one of the best offensive players in the world. He has been for a number of years. But Brian Leetch has not had a good tournament. Yes, he's been okay defensively, but Brian Leetch is not there to be Doug Harvey. Brian Leetch is there to move the puck up, join the rush, create offensive chances. He hasn't done that on 5-on-5 or on the power play. He must be better. Dougie Wade, Tony Amonte, these are 2 of the best offensive players in the world. These guys got to score. They might be able to get by the Finns, but you're not going to win the World Cup and beat Canada or Czechoslovakia without players of that caliber, without players of that offensive caliber putting some pucks in the net. Someone's got to score besides that big line, because I can guarantee you the Finns saw that game, and the Finns will put defensive players against the Tkachuk line.
And Finland, they have never been to the final of a Canada Cup / World Cup. Their motto this year is, "It's our turn." We will find out if indeed it is their turn in a matter of moments from St. Paul, Minnesota. Barry and I will be back, of course, in the first intermission as well. And don't forget, tomorrow, a very big game.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Final. Czech Republic, they've scored 13 goals in their last 2 games, taking on the unbeaten 4-0 Canadians.
Czechs have only
Toronto.
played 2 games.
Yeah, they've only played well in 2 games. ESPN 2, Czech Republic, Canada, tomorrow at 6:30. Keith Tkachuk, a one-man wrecking crew, 4 goals against Russia. Who's going to be the hero tonight? USA, Finland, next on the Toyota World Cup of Hockey.
ESPN's presentation of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey is brought to you by the Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Not just big, life-sized. And T-Mobile. Get more minutes, more features, more service.
Xcel centered in St. Paul, Minnesota, the United States and Finland in the Toyota World Cup of Hockey on ESPN2. And how about our 2 goaltenders tonight? The one who labored in Philadelphia gloriously this year, Robert Esche.
What's really interesting is that Robert Esche came within 1 win of facing Mika Kiprusoff in the Stanley Cup Finals. Esche made it to the conference finals. This man made it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Well, this guy, I think he's the best goaltender in the league, especially right now. He's going to be really tough to beat tonight.
Mika Kiprusoff was in the conference final against Ron Wilson's San Jose Sharks. Wilson said this morning, "We want to get this guy thinking about moving from east to west." Is that a common thing you say about a goaltender?
Well, a guy that's that good, let me put it this way. If you move it quick enough from east to west, he's just not going to be there. It's easier said than done.
It is Connor Walchuk working with Jamie Langenbrunner at the start and Jeff Halpern, one of the 2 lines that Ron Wilson put together for the 3rd game. That is the game that things turned around for the United States after losing the first two. They made 5 lineup changes, plus a temporary change in goal. And did they ever respond from that? Konowalchuk deals it back in, and Finland in the blue goes to work.
I think one thing you got to watch tonight, really watch how the Finns play defensively. They won't send too many guys in and get themselves caught, but they will play a hard trap that hopefully the U.S. doesn't get frustrated by.
Finland loves to get set up for one-timers. They have players who can really bring it to the net, and they have tenacity at the other end. Very strong there. They just don't give up in the course of games. They don't get a congested sort of lilt to their game once they have trouble at the start.
Yeah, that's that Finnish pride, isn't it?
Big drive by Chelios, and it went wide. I think that's one of the things that is often looked past when you're evaluating Finland.
I agree, 100%. And believe me, the coaching staff from Team USA said this morning, this team plays more like an NHL team than any team in the tournament, with grit, with determination, with one-on-one battling mentalities.
Eloranta with the forehander that went wide of Robert Esch, and it started back out. The big line is out now for Team USA. In the white shirts, it is Tkachuk. 13, Bill Guerin with it. Modano at the slot, but Guerin can't get it there, and it's just tossed back out. Leach and Aaron Miller, the defense for Team USA. Another change now for Finland. Be interesting to see if the U.S. decides on that matchup. It is the one that Bill predicted, and it would make sense that Ron Wilson would want it. But the U.S. is the visiting team tonight. Finland does get the last change.
And I don't think either one of these coaches wants to disrupt the rhythm on his bench early. If the game develops and somebody looks unstoppable, then they can start matching up. Ronnie Wilson has to know, JR, that his team must take its, hopefully took its patience pills before the game, because Finland is so good defensively. If you don't play patiently against them, they're going to counterattack you to death.
Well, I know being in the U.S. locker room like I have so many times, one fault the U.S. might have is their patience. If they come out against Finland tonight and get frustrated with the way they play defensively and not getting any scoring chances, I just hope that they can keep it up for the whole game and not just really let their emotions down and keep going at them.
Solani and Koivu and Lehtinen are out there, and for Team USA, the hand passes stopped the clock, but they did get Paul Miller and Brian Rafalski out there against them, so they succeeded in that first one.
And they really defend well against the rush. That is one thing that Martin and Rafalski do, but the other thing they do is they get the puck out of trouble and out of their zone so quickly. Look at it right off the face-off here. Rafalski came back in after Martin held his guy. 2 quick passes, bang, out of the zone. The less time you spend in your zone against the line featuring Teemu Solani, the better off you are.
Ken Klee played that one ahead, and it comes back in again. Referees are Don Koharski and Mark Joannette. Greg Dvorsky and Brad Lazarowicz are the linesmen, as Steve Konowalchuk comes in, taken to the wall by Sami Salo. Jarkko Ruutu, Salo's teammate in Vancouver, played that one along. It's dealt right back again to Konowalchuk. Boy, taking a healthy hit there, but getting the puck back now is Chelios across to Klee, and a shot. It's blocked aside by Kiprusoff. Rebound, and it's off his pad, and he grabs and holds on.
Oh, look at that. You see Konowalchuk getting trashed after the play. This is the kind of spirit we were talking about that Finland brings to the ice surface. And Mike, you were talking about Kiprusoff moving east and west. This was north, south, east, and west all at once. Watch, they got him spinning around. And you see, once he commits and is sliding, when you can get him to go east to west, sometimes he'll end up north, northeast, or north, northwest.
Didn't Barry say earlier that the Finns were passive? This doesn't look too passive to me. Vananen crushes Chelios, and then they just attack one guy in front of the net. They kill him.
You won't break the Finns' spirit. That is one thing Team USA knows.
Well, it's part of the Finnish character. You talked about their pride. I mean, it's shown by the lion on the front of the jersey and Suomi, which is translated into Finland underneath. And here is a chance for a forehander that's stopped by Ash. A good opportunity from Tuomo Ruutu of the Chicago Blackhawks. Sent on back now for Bonanno. Glides by one alongside Tkachuk. But it's turned back over to Finland. 3.5 uneventful minutes played so far. Only one shot on goal, and that by Finland as Leach is nudged off. Now a twisting pass in front, knifed away by Guerin. In stride, taken by Keith Tkachuk. And Tkachuk plays it safely back in. His time's up, and he comes to the bench for a change in lines.
Well, I can tell already that Finland's ready for this game. I've seen more hits by them than I've seen from the Americans. And you know, like Bill said earlier, that lion in their chest, it stands for courage and almost like a no fear attitude. And they're coming out showing it.
Icing touch-up, and so the face-off to come back near Kiprusoff. Well, you don't get many turndowns with the Finnish team when they're invited to play, do you?
Nicest guys in the whole world. They eat nice pills all the time. They're so nice you want to hit them sometimes.
But how about this? Here's the lion that they wear, and this used to be part of the Finnish flag. Now it's just on the military flag. But it is the symbol that Finland and its inhabitants of just over 5 million live by, and it is a symbol of courage. And there are a few players on this bench right now that will not play with the courage required to win the World Cup. See the power of Ruutu just battling along the wall. He pushed by Brian Leach.
Just to get by Brian Leach is a feat, and then getting to the goaltender. And Esche made a great save with that right pad of his.
Team USA on the attack. Early goings of our contest here for a chance to be in Tuesday night's World Cup of Hockey final against the winner of tomorrow night's game in Toronto between the Czech Republic and Canada. Fired back in, and Esche will stop it behind. Boy, very quickly on him was Jukka Hentunen, and it is turned just wide on the shot that came from Mikko Eloranta. Lifted ahead past the waving wand of Chris Drury, and it started right back by the defense again, banged on through, and past Nico Kapanen, and an offside is called. Well, tomorrow ESPN2's coverage of the World Cup of Hockey continues with the other semifinal matchup. Mario Lemieux and Team Canada going up against Jaromir Jagr in the Czech Republic. Action at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
Here they are again. Rafalski and Martin against their top line, like you said. I think the reason why they're there because they're New Jersey products. New Jersey plays the best defensive game in the league, and there's no question why they have these two guys on the ice.
Got the same forward line out there with them, too. Centered by Doug Weight.
Teemu Selanne just hit someone. What's going on tonight?
It's what Bill's been talking about in that collective pride.
Teemu Selanne never hits anybody. And you tell me that this Finland team is not here for business, it is not a physical team? Teemu Selanne just hit a great hit on Brian Rafalski in the corner, and he's ready for this game.
JR, he told me this morning of all the times, and this is his 12th time representing Finland in an international tournament, this is truly the first time he's ever felt that they can beat anybody and everybody. The biggest reason for that is the man that he sees in the paint down in his goal named Mika Kiprasov. When he looks back, that's when he thinks we can beat anybody. First time ever in 12 times representing his country he's felt that way.
It's been a changing cast of characters. Ari Sulander and Jarmo Myllys were the two goaltenders in Nagano in 1998 when Finland won bronze. In the 2002 Olympics, Jani Urme, Jussi Markkanen, and Pasi Nurminen were the goaltenders. And this time it's Kiprasov, Lehtinen, and Toskala.
Teemu Selanne is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. And look what he does to Brian Rafalski. Get out of my way, kid. That's not Teemu Selanne. This kid is really, he's going to fight hard for his country tonight. You can tell.
Interesting to notice Don Koharski, the referee tonight, and in the background holding up his hand. He has had some carnage, too. We're hearing about injuries all around the league, but Don Koharski is one of them who is playing beyond pain in this contest tonight as the referee. Get to that in a moment as now Finland outlets. Teemu Selanne had it knocked away by Leach, but turned quickly back out for the twisting Saku Koivu, the captain of this team, the captain of the Montreal Canadiens, connects on with Selanne.
I'm sure there are enough players that would say that Don Koharski inflicted enough pain that he deserves some.
Langenbrunner a shot, and that one went over the glove hand of Kiprasov and back out. One-time milkman in Halifax, Nova Scotia, who wants to forget about that time in his life when he was between jobs. May we all do anything. But a long-time veteran of the refereeing wars. Here's Rafalski, run off to the ditch by Billy Peltonen. Long-time veteran at 31 years of age on this Finnish team, but Bill Guerin lobs it ahead, hoping for Tkachuk. Burrows into the corner with Sami Salo, and they tie. Fired back around, Rafalski was hoping for it, but it kicked right back for control, and the bring-out by Olli Jokinen. Able to get it on now to Tuomo Ruutu, played for Jokinen, thrown away by Esche. Penalty coming up. It's against Team USA. They have the poorest special teams in this tournament. They're going to be shorthanded for 2 or less in a scoreless first period in St. Paul.
Mike Emmerich talked about Don Koharski and the injury he suffered 1 hour before the game. He was getting his equipment on in the locker room, and he stood up on a folding chair, lost his balance, and fell backwards. And then the chair collapsed, and he got his hands stuck down on the steel, and they were both pinched in. and he took 30 stitches before the game in those two hands and decided to stay with it. So he's playing, or refereeing, I should say, with a lot of pain, guys.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing. I'm grimacing. I just got chills on my back.
All right. I thought you were being unsympathetic there. You're still a player, you know.
I'm very sympathetic, trust me. I've had this happen before.
You're a liar.
Here's Teemu Selanne. He's
right,
changing
he's a
the
referee.
subject
It's
for a
all right.
moment.
He's a good referee, though.
Oh, yeah, you'll say that now. Selanne to the outside. Inside the box is Saku Koivu. Shaking on back to Numminen. Numminen across. Drive! Oh, and a scorcher that went wide from Kimmo Timonen and all the way out to center.
There's that one-timer. Watch for the defenseman from Finland to get very involved. And it's so interesting. I think it's because of the Jari Kurri influence that the coaching staff from Team USA said this is the best one-timing nation in the world.
Timonen a wrist shot this time, and that one went wide. Numminen pinches in, flips it on, but Selanne had trouble with the checking of the referee. Around behind Saku Koivu, hands on to Selanne, tried to shake it further, and Koharski in the wig, and fed onto the back now for Numminen. Then Selanne once more. Teppo Numminen, 55 to go on the power play, works into Saku Koivu. Tried for Lettinen, but it's cut and cleared back down by Doug Waite. So another change for the United States. They get Ken Klee out on the penalty kill along with Aaron Miller. Up front, they go with Brian Smolinski and Jamie Langenbrunner, one of the 3 native Minnesotans in the lineup tonight for Team USA. That one pitched on back. Smolinski tried to reach, could not. Back to Aaron Miller. Cleared near Langenbrunner. Still battling, but it's kept alive and worked to the outside. Gliding run around now is Jokinen, and we're going to get a penalty call that will cancel out the rest of the power play time.
This is a great call.
It is.
You don't. It's very hard to make a call like this, but I think it's easier. Obviously, the Finland's already got a penalty called for them, but this is a great. This is a hold. This is interference. This is mugging. This is anything you want it to call it. We can't have this interference in the game. It's slowing down the game too much, and I think the referees are doing a great job in this tournament, calling the interferences and calling the holds.
Right here, Jamie
There's a
Langenbrunner, he had a chance to get the puck out of the zone and looked like he was hogtied. And
Just took his wallet.
Yeah, the refs actually build in their perception of whether a scoring chance was either created or enhanced by somebody setting a pick or taking somebody out. And I think that's appropriate to build that, to really build that interpretation into the call.
10 seconds left of a 4-on-4. Raimo Suominen, the coach of Finland, Ron Wilson, the coach of Team USA, both said they'd like to see a lot of this game 5-on-5, if not all. They're not idealists enough that it's going to be all that way. It's 4-on-4 now, and now the power play on for Team USA. They're only 2 for 15 in the tournament. Here is Chris Chelios with it. Hands it to the back. Klee waits. Hands back to Chelios, but it went through him. Good careen back for Scott Gomez, who lost, and it's played back around by Sami Salo and down.
Team USA wants a change. They're going to get it right now. Klee and Chelios are both going to go off, and you got to have Brian Leach and Brian Rafalski on your points on the power play.
Both of them with strong shots. Both of them with deflectable shots. Leach bangs one in beyond Tkachuk, who will undoubtedly pull his way to the front of the net. Waiting behind, trying to jam it on further. Bill Guerin is there. A couple of the hard pluggers from the corner, but this time it's coughed up to Finland and brought right back ahead. Carried on. And circling with it and going back is Jarkko Ruutu, and he killed off a lot of time. We're down to the last 45 seconds of this man advantage before it's finally picked off by Guerin. Wilbraham, Massachusetts native, gave it on back for Brian Rafalski. His pass is cut. Nicely done and brought back on by Eloranta. Has Lettinen, but the pass went off his skate and it's jabbed to the corner by Leach.
That Coach Suominen of Finland will not like. He has told his troops, when you get a chance, blast rubber at Robert Esch.
Here's a pass to Leach, and a shot is turned aside by Kiprusoff. Modano tries to get it to Smolinski, and it's knifed away and controlled, but given up again. Leach with a pass across that went off Modano. 8 left on the power play. Modano back to Leach once more. Wrist one that went wide, bounced to Modano, chopped away, and eventually pitched back out again by Nico Kapanen, and that will take care of the power play. Icing touch-up is made, but it is going to be play continuing now as they rule that it had been cleared when the Finns were still shorthanded. So we're down to 9.5 here in the first period. Are you surprised? Only 2 shots for Finland, only 1 for Team USA through half a period so far.
No.
Everybody watching this game, please don't get bored yet. I guarantee it's going to get more exciting. They're just feeling each other out right now, and I told you that this Finland team is going to play very, very tight defensively, but it's going to get better, trust me.
Intensity doesn't show on the shots on goal board sometimes, but you can see that they're playing intently out there. This one is sent down for an icing touch-up. That will happen with 9:03 to go in the first period. No score in the game between Finland and Team USA. The late Charles Schultz was from St. Paul, and he and the Peanuts cartoon paid tribute to all over the city with these dog houses, and one paying tribute to the 1980 United States gold medal winning Olympic team.
Terrific. I walked around downtown today and must have seen 50 of the dog houses.
I hope Mr. O'Toole is happy tomorrow in class. The kid's going to be ready, and he'll probably be talking about a game as much as he will his homework.
You better not be having school on Saturdays here.
All right, on Monday.
There you go.
Maybe it's detention then.
There you go. Then Mr. O'Toole's tougher than I thought.
It is outletted by Team USA. Langenbrunner from the Cloquet Lumberjacks. They got to the semifinals and quarterfinals when Jamie was in high school in that enormous tournament that is held here every year and was tremendous, especially when it was wide open rather than individual classed, similar to the Indiana basketball tournament, which I thought was a lot better when it was wide open. Views expressed are solely those of my own, pertain to no one else in particular. The National Football League is underway, and ESPN Sunday Night Football begins with a huge matchup in the AFC. Priest Holmes and the Kansas City Chiefs try to get a quick jump on the division when they take on Champ Bailey and their arch rivals, the Denver Broncos. Sunday Night Football is also available in ESPN High Def. Call your cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network today. Coverage begins with NFL primetime at 7:30 Eastern, only on ESPN. Fired around for control by Ken Klee. Indianapolis, Indiana-born player got it on to Blake for a shot that was off the pad of Kiprasov. Headed wide, so it does not count as a shot on goal, but Blake is there again. Awarded a penalty shot in the game against Russia. Little pass in front is just hooked high to the air, and a carefully played game develops back at center ice with Finland in possession, and just that quickly losing again. These are the shots on goal through the first 12 minutes and 22 seconds of playing time.
It's boa constrictor time. Suffocation. Both teams.
What a hit on Chelios at center by Ossi Vannanen. And Chelios goes to the bench. Looked like he got him in a full body scan there, as well as up high. There's a daubing at his head as he left the ice as Bill Guerin twists. Hands back to Leach. All quick challenge there. And it's brought ahead by Mikko Eloranta, but just that quickly gotten back again by Leach.
Great play by Brian Leach. He went right at it to take away any chance of the pass.
I'll tell you, Brian Leach is so good at that. And the reason why he's so good is you can beat him once, but you're not going to beat him twice. He's going to get back, he's going to get in position, and he's going to catch it no matter where you are on the ice. And he just showed it right there.
Ahead races Doug Waite. Michigan-born center lobbed it across for Smolinski, and he is jostled off, and we have an offside.
Well, Teppo Numminen, one of my good buddies I played with in Phoenix. I'll tell you what, there's no Finnish player that is more popular than Teppo Numminen in Finland. And one, because he was one of the first guys over here that had a lot of success, but he's so underrated as what he does and how good that he is. And for all you women out there, you might want to know that Teppo Numminen was voted the best looking man in Finland. I'll tell you what, he got a lot of grief about that when he was in Phoenix. Come on, Teppo, best looking guy. You're lucky I wasn't there.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch. Icing touch-up.
You liked that one, didn't you?
That was outstanding. You may want to eliminate some of these on your list here.
Hey,
it is a good thing that it wasn't a... You know, here's another guy. Chelios just got hit by Ossi Vannanen. I know that's another guy that you've had some experience with.
Ossi he's probably one of the toughest Finnish guys that I've seen play. He doesn't have any idea who he's playing against, to tell you the truth. He'll hit anybody, he'll cross-check anybody, he'll cheap shot anybody. He'll do it to Wayne Gretzky. He's just so young and naive. He doesn't know what. But he's an unbelievable hockey player. I'll tell you what, really tough.
Here is a trickler in front by Martin that is sent right back to him, covered up by Rafalski and dealt back in.
You just love youthfulness, huh? Just youth and not knowing about anything, and just go out and have fun and play.
That guy out there that you just hit's 42. We don't size it up that
42?
way.
Is he 42? I thought he was like 55.
Oh, Chelios?
Yeah. He has a body of a Greek god, though. You should see him. He works out better, harder than anybody else. He looks better than anybody else.
He is out there right now and has just thrown this one back, so it was only a temporary shakeup for Chelios as we're down to the last 5 3/4 minutes of the first period, and another offside. The World Cup semifinal, Finland and the United States, and still no score.
Here's Robert Esch really come into his own. I asked him what he knows at age 26 that he didn't know at age 19.
I used to do these goalie schools, and I used to teach all the kids, you know, goaltending is 90% mental and 10% physical. And I sat back a couple of years ago and realized I don't even know what the mental part of the game is. I had no clue. That's been probably my biggest stepping stone, is realizing that, you know, it is 90% mental. The physical part isn't even close to what you think it is growing up.
I think what he's saying there is that he figured out the mental part. He always knew it was 90-10. He just didn't know what the 90 represented. But Robert Esch has certainly figured out the mental part of the game.
And I'm very proud of Robert, because he's taken over for a long legacy in USA Hockey in Mike Richter, who is so loved by the U.S. And everybody thought, where's the U.S. going to go now that Mike Richter's not here? Well, I'll tell you what, Eschi has really come in, and he's filled that void extremely well with Mike Richter retiring.
You got Rick DiPietro behind him, and Ty Conklin also around here as the third goalkeeper. So I think the goaltending situation for Team USA's future is really good.
Well, when you look at the saves that he's made, 43 in one game this week. And this is a guy that came off hip surgery in June and wasn't supposed to play for 4 months. So he'd still be rehabbing now if he was a normal guy. But we know goalies aren't.
And Eschi is not one of those. He's not going to start being one of those normal guys. Trust me. I know him. I see him every day.
Ahead now, it is brought by Finland and flipped back in. Some trouble there for Mikko Eloranta. And again, this close battle sees the puck lifted back to center. Under 5 minutes to go in the first period. And Esch, who has stopped 40 in a game, has only faced 2 and gotten them both. And the same for Mika Kiprasov at the other end.
Shots have increased by 25% in the last 4 minutes. We're up to 2-2 now.
And it is Rafalski. On now for Blake. What a healthy hit on Paul Martin. Letting him have it that time was Ville Nieminen. They have one of those grind line too, Finland has, and Nieminen is a part of it, as he was with Calgary's grind line last spring.
Raimo Suominen, the head coach for Finland, knows how to handle Ville Nieminen. Keep him caged, feed him raw meat, and turn him loose 1 game ago. It's only his 2nd game in the World Cup.
Paul Martin has stayed out there. The puck turned over to Smolinski, but offside is the call. Let's check in back at the studio. David Amber and Barry Melrose, gentlemen.
Guys, the team scoring first, 15-0-1 at the World Cup. At this rate, we might not ever see a goal.
This really plays into Finnish strength. We talked about defense first, offense second. The longer it stays close, 0-0, the Finns will take it. And I believe Mike Emmerich's the best-looking person in that crew, not Jeremy Roenick.
More in the first intermission, including some labor discussions. All right, guys.
Barry, that's needed. That's really nice of you to say, but obviously you haven't noticed me on radio.
Well, wait a minute now. JR didn't say he was the best-looking guy in the crew. He said he was the best-looking guy in Finland if he'd been there when Numminen was winning it.
Leads with a shot that is blocked aside by Kiprasov.
Thanks, Barry. I know you'll always be in my corner, buddy.
Win or tie.
Sell an awful lot of those mosquito products up here. Meanwhile, it is outletted to center and all the way back down. It's part of the state bird, I think, here they call it. The mosquito. Icing is called, and a face-off to come back again in the Finnish defensive end.
And this is where the big line for Team USA and just a lock-quad struggle in a game like this, centered by Mike Modano, their big line has to be patient. You can't try to force plays that aren't there, because Finland will eat you up in the neutral zone and counterattack the other way. And that's why I said early on, Team USA has to take their patience pills before this game.
Langenbrunner flips, bouncer in front, collared there and protected well, and started back out to center for the toss back in by Tuomo Ruutu. Ken Klee, chased off by Peltonen. Drop back to the corner, and there to get it is Olli Jokinen. Ruutu at the front takes the pass, spins one that's turned aside off the outside of the net. Not a save that Esch had to make, so it remains at 2 shots for Finland. Meanwhile, it's turned back in, and once again a centering pass by Ruutu, carried around behind. Ruutu from Peltonen, then along to Jokinen again. This line trying to get something started. Moving into the corner is Halpern to test his man, and it's gotten once again by Finland. Again a toss by Peltonen that is deflected away. Finland's credentials include only 1 World Championship gold medal, and Peltonen was one of 3 players who was a part of that team in 1995. Tomorrow, ESPN2's coverage of the World Cup of Hockey continues with the other semifinal matchup. Mario Lemieux and Team Canada going up against Jaromir Jagr despite the bad hip in the Czech Republic. The action begins at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Jari Lehtinen and Saku Koivu were the other 2 members of the 3 on that 1995 World Championship team. That's been it. No Olympic gold medals for Finland during all of that time. Puck nudged ahead and brought on now by Tkachuk. Handed across for Guerin. Slams one that is blocked away by Kiprusoff. Shoot anywhere, including from way out.
Well, it's one way to get the puck in, and you never know where the rebound's going to go, so Kiprusoff's defensemen really don't know where it's going to go.
Tkachuk tried to play it further, but it's broken up and started right back ahead. Eloranta trying to fight his way in and is denied by Brian Leach. Out of Boston College, 36-year-old defenseman brings it ahead, and his pass is deflected back over to Solani, who just plays it back out for Rafalski.
There were 4 blue jerseys surrounding Brian Leach and Keith Tkachuk. I mean, that's how dedicated the Finns are to Team D.
Oh, no. Well, if anybody saw the Russian game the other day, you heard us talking about Darius Kasparaitis. Well, this is Finland's Darius Kasparaitis. Ville Nieminen. I don't think there's a guy in the league, besides Kasparaitis, that all the players want to get at and just put a little hurt on every time they play him. A pain in the butt will hit you, slash you, elbow you, do whatever he can to get under your skin. And I'm telling you what, every guy wants to just get underneath that mask that you see and poke him right in the eyes and say, hey, take that.
No, you like him.
Yeah, I like him. Like I like castor oil.
But he is the reason, the big reason that Team USA's coaching staff, led by Ron Wilson, was really stressing discipline. Just for that reason, JR, telling the players, don't let him get under your skin.
And he's going to try to do everything that he can. But I'll tell you, U.S. is poised. They're ready. They know what to expect tonight.
Too many men on the ice. Penalty against Team USA. Power play on for Finland. 1:15 to go here in the period. Drive by Newman and save. Rebound is turned back out by Paul Martin.
What a great clear. A great save by Eshi, but another great opportunity for Finland. But
on a one-timer.
On a one-timer. You said, what did you say?
I don't know. You said something about that's better than being...
I said, you said Finland has been one of the best one-timing nations in the world. I said it's better than being a two-timing nation.
Indeed. Well, the one almost worked. Here's Koivu again. Tries to work to the back. Broken up. Came to the back, though. Wrist shot. Ducked in front of Onesh. Able to block it aside. And a shove to the ice by Chelios. And a crowd gathers. 41 seconds to go in the period. And a good chance for Finland there.
A really good chance. But Robert Esch has one of the best resets, I think, in the game. He can move from one side of the net to the other and reset. So quick and so strong with his legs. You see, he was jumping up because he thought that was going to hit him in the chest. He had to get right down to his knees. Watch this. He'll go up here. Whoop, it was deflected back down. But he was able to get back down. He wasn't perfectly square, but he got his pad out in front of the rebound so quickly. Right in front of Ville Peltonen, who got cleaned out by Chris Chelios.
And I'm telling you what, Robert's going to have a little chat with a couple defensemen in between periods, because I know he hates it when people get in front of him and block his side of the puck. And plus it got tipped, so he had to struggle even more for that one.
Finland still on the man advantage in the last 25 seconds of the period. There will be carryover time if they don't score, barring further penalties. It is Rafalski lifting. Puck kept there by Sami Salo. Through one that's blocked aside, and they rule that it's out of play and will come back to center ice for another faceoff with 15.4 to go. We were talking about Esch, and you mentioned Richter earlier. If you look back at the change that has taken place in goalkeeping, in Salt Lake, the 3 goaltenders for the United States were Richter, Mike Dunham, and Tom Barrasso. And here, Bill mentioned Esch, Rick DiPietro, and Ty Conklin. The new wave has come on.
The torch has been passed. 3 of them.
It's the one area that U.S. is very strong at, because everybody says that after this generation, in the next couple years, where's U.S. going to go from here? Where's the talent coming from? There's no loss of talent in net with those 3 guys.
And the last bear hug is released on this period. It will be scoreless, but not without some thump right at the end and a disagreement at the end.
All right, I like this. I like this. Get a little fisticuffs going, a little anger going. Second period might be a little bit more exciting.
As Tony Amati wrapped up with Tuomo Ruutu.
Was this a late hit? Listen for the whistle and the collision. Now, I realize sometimes you can't pull up on these things. Sometimes you choose not to. Couple of extras.
Just a little bit. So, like, if the whistle comes first, it's a late hit, right?
Hit him anyway.
Especially if it's 3 seconds ahead of the hit.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's been an interesting 20 minutes. 4 shots for Finland, 3 for Team USA. No score.
Barry Melrose, David Amber in the ESPN studios. Hope you enjoyed the first 20 minutes from St. Paul. 0-0 is our score, but Finland, more shots, more hits, and more scoring chances. Barry, where was the US of A?
That's what Finland does to you. They plug up the neutral zone. They take all your speed away. They try and get you to make a mistake in the neutral zone. And I thought the Americans played a pretty smart period. There wasn't any terrible turnovers. But you folks that love international hockey and want the NHL to turn into international hockey, that's what you're going to get, folks. You're not going to get any forechecking. You're not going to get any big hitting. You're not going to get any speed through the neutral zone. So you guys better start plotting the NHL and plotting the way we play, or else this is what you're going to get.
And Finland's really applied, they're predicated their whole tournament on defense. They've allowed just 5 goals now in 4 games in 1 period. Joe Micheletti standing by with one Mike Modano, who's yet to light the lamp tonight.
Mike, that first period, was it more difficult to find open spaces than against the Russians?
A little bit. I think they're well coached. They play good as a team, as 5-man unit. We knew that going into it. So we knew going into it there's not going to be a lot of room. So you have to be patient, work for your space, and you know, not too much on both ends. Just a lot of playing the neutral zone, a lot of back and forth. You know, we haven't played these guys, so it's a little bit of a feeling out there for the first period.
You know, Bill Clement talked about your line in particular having to take patience pills against this Finnish team. Is that difficult to do after coming off the success you had last game?
A little bit. I think you want to get out there and play again when you have a game like that. Obviously, you want to keep on a roll and you want to ride that wave as long as we can. So, but we need to be smart about it. We need to realize what gave us success the game before against the Russians was, you know, picking our spots, playing well positionally, not giving too much on the defensive side. So we're able to counter on their mistakes, and then we feel like these 2 guys, you know, Keith and Bill, are big forwards. We just need to get that puck in the zone, let them work it around, and get that puck to the net for them.
Thanks for your time.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Modano, Guerin to Chuck. What an impressive quarterfinal against Russia. 4 goals, 7 assists. How can they break out tonight, though?
Well, I don't know if they will break out because the Finns are going to put extra attention on them, and they knew they were going to get extra attention. It's up to somebody else on this American team to kick in some goals. It's up. But you look at the teams that win consistently. It's the other guys that kick in. Draper scores a big goal for Canada. Somebody else for Canada scores a big goal. The Americans haven't been getting that. They've been getting goals from about 5 guys. That's got to change if they're going to beat Finland, and they have a chance of winning the World Cup.
Well, we see Mika Kiprusoff has kept the USA off the board, and his head coach in a little bit of trouble today. We have an update on Flames head coach Daryl Sutter. Had an emergency appendectomy surgery Thursday in Calgary. The 46-year-old head coach, though, expected to make a full recovery, so some great news there. Of course, Daryl Sutter leading the Flames to within just 1 win of a Stanley Cup, and obviously we wish him our best here, Barry.
That's not going to keep Daryl Sutter away from the rink. A little appendectomy, man, a long way from the heart. He'll be there. Don't worry about that.
Now, he might be back soon, but the question is, will the NHL be back anytime soon? There's a major labor impasse. The owners rejecting the players' latest offer of a luxury tax, 5% rollback on wages. In fact, they're definitely not bridging the gap at this point. The latest words from the NHL was this quote coming from Bill Daly, and it didn't look very bleak, or does look very bleak at this point.
It does.
Bill Daly, the NHL chief legal officer, saying, quote, "We don't feel it was anything other than a pre-orchestrated move to not make a meaningful proposal. They believe their best deal will be negotiated in a work stoppage situation, and that's unfortunate for our sport." The NHLPA, Trevor Linden, the president of the union, saying this: "At some point, the owners need to understand the players will never accept the salary cap or any system arbitrarily linking payroll to league revenues. Our proposal was the best chance we saw to save the hockey season." Barry, your thoughts?
Well, Trevor Linden played for me, so I know Trevor very well, and he's a great guy, and he's certainly one of the leaders in the NHL, and he's the leader of the Players Association. But I've really become disgusted with this whole situation. Nobody was more optimistic than me because I felt they had to get the deal done, and for the betterment of hockey, two sides would get the deal done. But now what I've heard the last month or two, I don't really think either side really gave the negotiations a chance. I think a year ago they decided there was going to be a strike, there was going to be a lockout. I think Bob Goodnow, Gary Bettman, this is their legacy. Both feel they have to win this, not just negotiate and both come out happy. One side has to win it clear cut. And I think that's a terrible situation we're in. I think it's a terrible place to put the players and the owners. I don't think it's good for the game. The game's going to be fine in Canada. Everyone in Canada is going to go to the game if they're out a year, if they're out 2 years. But in the United States right now, we've got problems. We've got ratings declining. We've got other things happening in the game. We cannot afford a lockout. How does a normal person who's making $35,000 a year that budget to get season tickets in Detroit, how can they imagine a player making over $1 million, players making $1 million, $7, $8 million, wanting not to play? It's ridiculous, and I really think this is going to hurt our game for a long period of time. It hurt baseball, and the only reason that they got on track right away was a home run race between Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. I don't know if we have a home run race when this thing comes out of the mudsling and what's going on right now.
The worst part of it is no meetings are now scheduled, and remember, the collective bargaining agreement expires in just 5 days, so a lengthy lockout is looking more and more probable.
We've got to have some magic the next 4 days.
Barry, what's the next step?
The next step is a lockout. The next step is one of these people got to blink. It's like a poker game now. The owners got to blink or the players got to blink. Same thing happened in '94. The owners blinked, and that's one of the reasons. The owners are very upset about '94, and they're still mad about that, and both sides don't like each other. It's not a great recipe for success.
Listen, that's a horrible story to be detailing time and time again. What is a good story is we do have a little bit of hockey left. Good. 2 periods left in this game, and tomorrow should be a great one as well. The Czech Republic taking on unbeaten Canada. Yager against Lemieux. Teammates going head-to-head, or former teammates, on ESPN2. The puck drops 6:30 Eastern from Toronto, and the winner of that game will play the winner of tonight's game. 0-0. The United States and Finland through 20 minutes. The Toyota World Cup of Hockey on ESPN2 rolls on. More intermission next.
ESPN's presentation of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey is brought to you by the Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Not just big, life-sized. And ESPN 25 The Book, available now.
Back here at Xcel Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. No score through the first period of play, along with Bill Clement, Jeremy Roenick, Mike Emmerich. So we had 4 shots for Finland, 3 for the United States in the first period. Some power play time coming up to Finland at the start of the second period. Thoughts?
My thoughts are, in spite of the fact that we only had 7 total shots, I thought Robert Esch had to make a couple of really good saves, and so did Mika Kiprasov. But the fact remains, 1 goal might be enough to win this game.
Well, no question. I think each team is really sitting back and waiting for the other team to make a mistake, and nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to send anybody in. No one wants to send anybody back. So they're making sure that they don't make a mistake, and hey, whoever does make the first mistake might lose.
It means an awful lot to score first. Nobody's lost when they've done it in this tournament, and this is game number 17. By the time it's all over, there will be 19 played through Tuesday night, and the World Cup champion will be crowned. The United States is the defending champion from 1996.
It's really an incredible number. I mean, we knew that this was going to be better defensive hockey than a lot of people thought, but I didn't think it'd be this good.
A shot that went off Koivu and is grabbed and held by Robert Esch. Do you think the United States is now saying, okay, we've seen him. We've played against him for 1 period now. We'll kill this penalty off, and maybe we can get something established?
Well, I think they want to just keep establishing what they're doing, and that is playing patiently. JR said it best. It's a game of mistakes, ultimately. Whoever makes the fewest mistakes usually wins. And in a game like this, all it takes is capitalizing on 1 mistake, and you can win it.
I'll tell you what, they're not thinking that at all. I know they're sitting in that locker room right now saying, we're all right, guys. We're playing a good game. We're playing smart. Let's just stick to the game plan, not make any mistakes, and wait till they crack. That's exactly what they said in the locker room.
Billy Peltonen turned it along to Tuomo Ruutu. Coming by now is Jokinen. One of the 2 lines that's gotten some offense so far. The other, of course, involves Teemu Selanne, but ahead now comes Guerin. Flipped one across that's knifed away from Madano. Quickly from defense to offense comes Finland again. Unable to get through was Tuomo Ruutu. A healthy crunch across the way thrown by Tkachuk. And meanwhile, it's brought right back out again by Team USA. Along comes Brian Leetch. A shot is wide, and Kiprasov just swings it along. Good anticipation there, and Team USA had possession for a moment, but now it's back to Olli Jokinen.
That's what Brian Leach has to do more of. He's got to use his skill and his puck possession to lead the offense. He has to jump up in that play because that's going to add a fourth forward, which Leachy has been known to do.
Double-edged sword, though, right? Unless you see the opening to create an odd man situation and you force it, then you're asking for trouble. It's a double-edged sword.
But Leachy is that good where he can make that situation occur just by how mobile he is.
Suminen's assistant coaches are Urka Westerlund and that man, the master of the one-timer who got some very good passes for the one-timer from Wayne Gretzky.
Hall of Famer, one of the greatest wingers ever to play the sport. So many years with the Edmonton Oilers before moving on, both Los Angeles and Colorado. And he changes the forwards for this team. And believe me, a guy like Teemu Selanne looks back there and realizes they're in pretty good hands when Jari Kurri is coaching the forward group.
Top European scorer in NHL history. Puck deflected up into the seats. He played 601 games, 1,398 points, and I'm certain that Mr. O'Toole will check my work at school on Monday, but that's averaging better than 2 points a game.
And that's strong.
JR said it earlier. This is just a great bunch of people. Whenever you're around the Finnish people, the collection of guys that are athletes representing Finland, they're all such nice guys.
They got the nice pills over there. They sell them in every convenience store. It's unbelievable.
They're nice to one another, too. I mean, the guys on this team are having a blast. Teemu Selanne this morning was so relaxed. I said, how long has it been since you've been this relaxed? And he thought for a second and said, years. And he doesn't want to talk contract. He's had a couple of contract offers as an unrestricted free agent. His agent, Don Baisley, brought him to him and said, I don't really want to hear about him now. I just want to concentrate on the World Cup of hockey.
They have to be nice to each other. I think they only have 5 million people in the whole country. I think it's just smaller than the size of Montana. Look at all the NHL guys they have. It's amazing.
It's not a lot of players to choose from, but do they ever get good ones?
You know, they're nice to each other because they might meet each other somewhere down the dark alley. Here in the United States, you might not ever see them again.
Here is Team Finland with it in a scoreless game. 2.5 played in the second period. Still the probing part of this game is taking place. Oftentimes it gets dispensed with in the first 3 or 4 minutes. There have not been many penalties. Only 3 power plays in the game so far, and only one of them was the full length. It's spiked back in now by Smolinski. And so going back to get it again is Eloranta. Run into. Meanwhile, it's yanked around by Selanne, but into some trouble. A little feed that's away from Konowalchuk. And outletted quickly ahead now for Selanne by Koivu. Selanne spins it back in, and around it swirls. It is Lettinen there, but it kicked on to Jamie Langenbrunner, his former teammate in Dallas. Lobbed on back away from Lettinen, and again, USA moves ahead.
See Langenbrunner there try to go to the aerial attack, get it over the trap in the middle. Selanne was able to grab it, put it down, and transition the other way.
Langenbrunner caught a stick up in the face, but it will not result in a penalty. Aaron Miller goes back to play it along to Leach. Then Langenbrunner got out of the way of the hit from Vananen and got Chris Chelios earlier in the game. Chelios back out there now as they've changed up the defense. Chelios and Ken Klee, and a lead pass comes ahead for Peltonen. Peltonen centered one, and it's blocked aside by Esch. Turning with it is Chelios trying to shake his way, and then threw it along past Klee. So another chance for Olli Jokinen. A little double shifting being done here by Finland. Outlet pass is too far for Tkachuk. Swatted right back out again by Sami Salo and across 2 lines. 3:58 gone, second period. No score in the game.
Well, you talk about loyalty to the country and a desire to represent your country. On the left is Juri Lettinen. His 12th time representing his country of Finland in international competition. Selanne, same. 12th. Numminen and Timonen, 14th. Peltonen, 15th. Jokinen, 12th. Koivu is 13th. 7 different players. There's Saku Koivu. 7 different players have represented Finland 11 times or more in international competition. Team USA has 1 player 11 or more. That's Brian Leach. Part of that's a product of not as many players to choose from in Finland. But a big part of it is they don't say no when called.
Great point. Brought back ahead now by Team USA. Motoring on as Paul Martin. Pass went off the wall and is taken by Numminen. And that's not so much being nice as it is just flat-out loyalty to the nation.
They're a proud bunch.
Here is Teppo Numminen trying to play it ahead. It is brought back in by Smolinski, taken right away with a good, strong check from behind that came from Numminen. And again, it's Jason Blake back to play it. Moorhead Spuds, Minnesota native, high school player that got to the state finals here once. Sees this play develop one further, and it is just rolled back in. This is Nieminen. Nieminen to the outside. Shovel shot. Knocked out in front. Picked up, though, by Martin. Not many chances in the game. The wrist shot turned out to be one of the best from Sami Salo. But it's sent right back down for Vannanen to play it further. Tucked along and kept off the wall for a spinning shot that failed from Chris Drury. Brought right back ahead and walked on by Salo for the drop back in.
How tough is it to get a rebound scoring chance? Virtually impossible when you can't get the original shot through.
Laid back ahead. More control here. Lettinen jammed it through the crease wide. It's Koivu up with it there. Koivu ridden to the boards. Halpern escapes. Got a pass across, and that one was wide. Oh, a great opportunity there for Jere Lettinen. Now it's taken to the outside by Koivu again. Has Solani back behind the net. Tried to drop it there, but plenty of help for the United States defensively, though Solani nearly got it away from Halpern, who just lobs it back down and on goal, and the clock will continue to move. No shots yet in the period. 5:55 play in the game. 4 shots to 3 Finland. Bill Guerin couldn't come up with that pass, and again Finland shifts to the offensive Aki Berg. But then slipped right back along again to Guerin. Guerin and Tkachuk are there. Tkachuk moves in, but offside is called.
Almost 7 minutes of play here in the second period. Not a shot. And it's tough enough to get a shot when you've got your stick. Tony Amonte said, give me my twig. I need to get a shot.
One of JR's old teams, the Blackhawks, won in 1938, 66 years ago. Pete Pelangelo, that was his last year playing in the NHL. He is the oldest living NHLer, 96 years old today. Congratulations to him. And he is still looked after, as they say in Canada, by his daughter Rondi. She is a loyal lady too, and congratulations to Pete Pelangelo, 96 today. Joe Nieuwendyk is 38 today, and one of JR's famous athletes, Arnold Palmer, is 70. Meanwhile, played back out again by Tkachuk. Anybody that golfs is one of JR's favorite athletes.
There's no question about that, and Arnie is one of the true blue best people ever.
Right back in for a shot that went wide. Attack met by resistance. That's pretty much the story of this one. Chances have been held down. Both of these teams have done a splendid job defensively. They have limited the excitement level of the game because they have just prevented anything before it gets much of a start. Here's Rafalski. Lays it ahead to Smolenski, and a shot eaten right up by Kiprasov.
Well, the Finnish coach, Raimo Suominen, the Finnish equation of Mike Keenan. I talked to a couple guys on the Finnish team, and they said this guy is a you-know-what. They don't like him. Jani Niinema left the team because he was too critical on his play, said he got too personal. When you have a guy like Jani Niinema leave a team because the coach is too hard, you know you're saying the wrong things.
Here's a chance for Smolenski, but it was blocked by Nieminen, and it went right into the glove of Kiprasov. Do you have to like your coach, JR?
You can't say things personal if you're a coach to your teammates. I don't care who you are, what you've done, how big you are, how strong you are. When you get personal, the player's going to revolt, and the player's going to turn his back on you as faster than a stray dog.
Don't know if anybody spotted that last replay, but Teppo Numminen had the telescopic legs and skates. It came out and got a piece of the shot.
Well, let's take a look at it.
Slowed it right down for Kiprasov.
We have 34 camera angles and 17 tape machines. We're going to do that. Here's the shot here. Look at Numminen stretching his feet out to get just a little chunk of it right here. Numminen was having his stick. It looked like held by Tony Amonte. Still got a piece of it.
Always thinking, always ready, Teppo Numminen.
Talked this morning about his father, Kalevi, who was the coach of the Finnish team in Lake Placid that Herb Brooks' team trailed after 2 periods 2-1, but eventually beat for the gold medal. If the U.S. would have lost that game, they would have only gotten bronze that year.
That's the greatest misconception, isn't it, that the gold medal game was against Russia in Lake Placid.
Was indeed, and there was a different way of computing standings then, and so it wasn't all as cut and dried as it is now, the way it's set up. But, oh, man, Ryan Leach went down.
And he's up, luckily, because he went knee on knee, but now he looks like he's going off.
He's going off, and a great chance at the side of the net from Jason Blake was sent aside by Kiprasov. A lot of things happening all over. Meanwhile, it is Team USA on the offensive. A little pass ahead, and Tkachuk could not escape the checking of Koivu, who was thrown right down to the ice by Blake, and Blake will be penalized, and the Finns
tell you what, you almost get one of the best players in the world, almost get their leg blown off from a hit at center ice. I don't care if Brian Leach ducked to get out of the way of this one. You got to call a penalty on this knee knee. Now look out, I know he gets out, but the knee's still out and it still goes into his leg. That is so dangerous. That happened to me twice. I was out for 3 months each time. And then Jason Blake, granted, it didn't look good, but if you're going to let go one way, let it go the other. Come on now.
Jarkko Ruutu was the man involved with Leach.
That almost looked like Ruutu could have ended up worse off than Leach. Did you see his leg buckle?
He may have. He is not out there right now. Leach, you just saw at the bench. Offside. 8:30 gone, second period. Power play underway for Finland in this 0-0 tie. Tomorrow, ABC Sports brings you a college football doubleheader beginning at noon. First up, either UCLA, Illinois, or Southern Mississippi, Nebraska. Then Marshall takes on Ohio State, North Carolina battles Virginia, or Colorado challenges Washington State. And in the nightcap, you'll see Penn State, Boston College, Colorado State challenging #1 USC, or Georgia Tech battling conference rival Clemson. Full day of football tomorrow on ABC.
You know, I know it's really hard. Those knee-on-knees are so dangerous, but when guys go to hit each other, they really separate their legs to get as much ground and force as they possibly can. And sometimes those legs that are out, they catch knee-to-knee, and it gets dangerous.
All right, here's a feed pass. Lettinen, Newman in a shot, and it's turned aside by Konowalchuk and flung back out again by Chelios.
And this is another thing that U.S. cannot afford. Taking all these penalties, they had the second worst penalty rating in the tournament so far, 76.5%. I know they're taking the most penalties of anybody in the tournament, but if you're going to let up that many goals, you've got to stay out of the box.
Well, especially against Finland's power play, because Finland's got the second best power play in the tournament. Only Sweden had a better percentage conversion rate than Finland.
And what good did it do, especially in their last game against the Czech Republic when they were only 1 for 7. But ahead with this now and trying to work his way by, but failing was Tony Lidman. Handed on back now as the power play down to the last 35. Middle stages, second period. See the shots in the period, just 2 for the United States. None for Finland yet. Thrown along by Paul Martin, kept by Salo, and a drive is bunted right back out again by Rafalski, and a neat play on to Langenbrenner. Left it behind, recovered and flicked it back in the last quarter minute of this man advantage.
Well, I mentioned before this game began that Paul Martin and Brian Rafalski had just crept up the depth chart on the blue line. Tremendous penalty killing by both of them, and Paul Martin's new to the penalty kill. You know, there's Paul Martin right there, Minnesota native. And he said this morning when I was talking to him about killing penalties, he said, Rafalski's used to killing penalties. He said, I hardly killed penalties in New Jersey. He said, against the Russians the other night, Ron Wilson said, where you go? And I said, you mean me?
Well, I'll tell you what, when we play New Jersey in Philadelphia, we always say, get the puck up, because the first thing that the defenseman will try to do is knock it out of the air or take it out from and give Marty Brodeur a little chance. So they have to pick that puck up, or else it's never going to get by from those two guys.
Another successful penalty kill for Team USA. They're back to full strength action, but it is Newman and flipping, kept alive by Leach. Pulls, can't get a shot away. Run into by Newman. On back for a shot. That one is canceled out. Strong play made there by Mikko Eloranta on the shot that came across from Kachuk.
You think there's any dedication to keeping the puck from getting to the paint? There have been great blocks in the last 3 minutes at both ends.
Eloranta sent it through the crease wide, and it was hacked just wide of the cage that time by Kapanen. Another try at the front. That forced away by Aaron Miller. To the outside they go, but it was lost onto Kachuk, who twists it back down. Another change in lines for Team USA, and the same for Finland, as we're under 9 minutes to go in the second. 5 shots apiece, and a thundering hit by Chelios.
This is 43 years old.
Yeah, but Niemann got tied up with Koharski.
A shot is turned aside by Kiprasov. A spark has come from the captain's hit. And now maybe it will pick up some offense on the part of both teams. Here's Blake to the outside looking. Sent one to the slot, but it kicked across and can be dealt right back out again by Ville Nieminen, who recovered remarkably.
You can't force that. You have a little bit of pressure. You can't force things into the middle.
Here comes Blake. A shot. Pad stop. Kiprasov. Blake through. Kiprasov stick, and then it's kicked aside. Oh, a tremendous job out there by Bennett. And Kiprasov, another healthy hit in the corner. Here's Blake up with it looking. Fed one in front, and it's cut off by Finland. And we're going to get a stoppage of play and a penalty coming up against the Finns.
Look at the people standing up. Look at everybody. There's some excitement coming.
years of age, Chris Chelios has never reinvented himself. He has always played the same way from the time he came into the NHL in 1983. Hits like this on Billy Nieminen have been witnessed by millions of people over the years. That led to this scoring chance by Jason Blake. Blake had taken a questionable penalty. What does his coach Ron Wilson do? Puts him right back out there.
Leach's shot deflected in front. Oh, and it came across and is eventually cleared back down.
Well, we're starting to get a little bit more excitement here. I told you it was going to get more exciting. Still not as exciting as we'd like, but this is a huge power play for U.S. If they can get on the board early, I'll tell you what, they might win the game because of it.
Jarkko Ruutu, the man who collided with Leach on the knee-on-knee, is in the box now. Second power play of the game for the United States. They have Modano out there, and Guerin and Tkachuk to the back. It's sent over to Guerin. Oh, it's kicked aside by Kiprusoff on a beautiful pass that came from Rafalski.
Brian Rafalski on just a quick one-touch. The great players know what they're going to do with the puck, or at least have weighed all of their options before they even receive the pass. That's what Rafalski did.
Escaping is Gomez. Backhander turned aside by Kiprusoff. Spike to the corner. Whacked at by Riku Hall. And all the way back to center and out of play it comes with 1:03 to go on the power play and 7:10 in the second. Still no score.
Well, this is what Scotty Gomez does so well. He's so great at bringing the puck up the ice and creating stuff for other guys. He'll get in. Usually he'll pull up here, but what does he do? He goes to the net, gets a scoring chance. Unfortunately, nobody was there to get the rebound, but that was a great play to get to the net and get the shot on.
I think that might have even been an attempted, just an attempted shot, hoping for a rebound.
Or for something to go off a stick and go in. Those things happen too, little fluke goals.
Martin to Gomez. Gomez. Oh!
Saw guys like this by Mike Modano against the Russians earlier, but this one was even better. Watch how many sticks and skates this pass goes to from Scotty Gomez.
The ultimate backdoor play, and it started with the face-off. Little help from Tony Amati, and Gomez was able to get it back to the point. Look at the traffic, though, that he has to see through. That's what you're talking about, JR. There was a wall of people he had to thread the needle through.
I'll tell you what, Scotty Gomez is the only guy in the whole building that saw Doug Weight come down there. And what a great heads-up play right on the stick to the back of the net.
Weight from Gomez and Martin. And finally, a goal. Past the halfway point of regulation. 9 shots to 5, Team USA, but Weight gets his first of the tournament in game number 5 for him.
And we get the USA chance for the first time tonight. I like that.
Across it comes now for Halpern. Moving in deeper. Lost to the corner, to a side.
Remember, no team has lost in this tournament that has scored first.
I'll tell you what, you guys have no idea how difficult the pass that Scotty Gomez just put on that stick of Doug Weight. And I know Dougie has been struggling to score goals. I know he's frustrated. He's been sitting in the locker room saying, I'll get better, boys. I'll get better. I'll be there. I'll be there. I knew he'd be there. Everybody else knew, and there he was. Right to the back of the net. That's a huge goal for U.S.
It's kind of like putting through the windmill in the miniature golf course. You got to wait for the right time, and then you got a moving target in behind the windmill.
And usually that denied me a free game. I don't know about you.
I'm so happy for Doug Weight. That's a big, big weight lifted off his shoulders.
Drive, ricocheted on goal. Calmly played away by Kiprusoff. Jostling continues. They have Modano out there again, and Guerin and Tkachuk. Dealt back ahead now for Guerin to flip back in. Nudged out by Timonen. Tipped on back for control, back by Olli Jokinen. Denied neatly by Guerin. Timonen tried to work through, and offside is called. It was Doug Weight who crept in from the left point position, and he got a gorgeous pass from Scott Gomez. An impressive goal for Team USA right off of a face-off. Wait's happy, and so are most of the fans here. 1-0 United States.
Think he's happy? Well, when the U.S. team roster came out a few months back, a lot of guys were frustrated and disappointed that this man was not on it, Scott Gomez. And he is here for one reason. It's because I am not. I had to bow out with concussions. Unfortunately, I was very disappointed to do it. But I wanted this guy and his team, and everybody else did too. And it's just so awesome that he got an opportunity to be here. And he made a huge pass to get these guys on the board 1-0.
Did you have a conversation with Scott about this?
I didn't, but I had a conversation with a couple people that had to do with the picking, and I was not very happy that he wasn't there. And when I was deciding whether I was going to play, I did have the thought in mind that I'm going to do this early enough because hopefully they'll pick Scotty Gomez to take my place, and that he can have enough time to get ready and prepare himself physically for this tournament.
Here is Malinsky, fed one off of Newman into the back. Brian Leach cranks a shot, and that one knifed right back to him off of Ruutu, but now twisting with it and controlling back deep is Olli Jokinen. Then to Timonen.
He's much better here than I would be anyway.
How are you, by the way?
I'm struggling still a little bit. I still have a lot of issues concussion-wise that are keeping me from really working out the way I'd like to and preparing myself. But I'll see some doctors at the end of the year and at the end of this tournament, and hopefully things go well.
Okay. Back ahead now. Blake fired it after the offside, called it back. And so a neutralized face-off to result.
A little bit after the whistle, too, and that's what Philly Peltonen is taking exception with.
Well, that's a big no-no. When a whistle's blown or it's offside, just leave the puck. Leave the puck. And Blakey, being the little disturber that he is, I wanted to say something different.
SD, how's that?
But get across the line on the whistle. What does he do? He shoots it on net. You know they're going to get some guys in his face because of that.
Well, he's the Billy Neiman equivalent that Team USA has. Remember, we talked about Team USA not wanting to let Neiman under their skin? You got to know that the Finns are well aware of what Jason Blake can do, and they want to avoid the same.
Very true.
Ossi Väänänen gets it back again. Finland with under 5 minutes to go in the second period, and with only one shot in the period so far. We talked about Finland and what a great job they've done defensively. Boy, that is a glaring stat. Here's Solani, a shot, bad stuff, rebound, getting across to block it on defense was Scott Gomez. Played on back further. Worked back in deep, and Gomez, again, the surrogate defenseman here, has moved on back after blocking one shot, and Saku Koivu is there, tangling up with him. Centering pass in front is just tipped aside, onto the back, though, dumped in on a delayed offside that is whistled down.
Boy, point blank was Teemu Solani, and Robert Esch was able to hold his ground. The monster bared its ugly face for Robert Esch, though, and who rode into the rescue? Really an unlikely guy. Look at this Scott Gomez. He had tried to clear, but the key there, oh, now we're getting nasty. Key there was Gomez was willing to come back in and put his body in a defensive position to begin with.
And the reason for that, I'm going to say it again, another byproduct of New Jersey Devil hockey. Not afraid to come back, get in front of the net, sacrifice yourself for the point of playing defense, and your goaltender made a great individual effort.
Rafalski to the penalty box. Saku Koivu to the penalty box. You pointed out earlier, Bill, that there is no quit in these guys. Even though down 1-0, it's not 4-0, and even at that. The one thing about the Finnish players that Team USA knows is they are tenacious, just never give up.
And you will never run away from them on the scoreboard because of that tenacity and because of Kiprusoff.
Battle of the little men.
And Brian Rafalski followed Saku Koivu to the bench, and Koivu came right back at him with a spear up high.
So that's why the Finns are looked at differently these days. They play a style of hockey that is European hockey, that is not European hockey known. It's North American. Tough, come back at you. You slap me, I'll slap you. Battle of the little people right there.
And those little people have been matched up almost exclusively. He mentioned before the game that Rafalski and Paul Martin, the defense pair, would most likely play against Koivu in the first period. They did that exclusively. 7 for 7 shifts head-to-head.
They are huge on talent.
Here's Chelios turning, spinning it back in. Rafalski played for 4 years, was virtually undiscovered in the Finnish league. Oh, what happened there? Kiprusoff saw that go off his equipment in what looked like a very harmless play, but nearly trickled in.
Great play by Mike McDonald to force the defenseman behind. I know it's only 4-on-4, but with his speed, he gets in there so quick. Tips the puck away from the defenseman, almost goes out the back of the goaltender and in. That was close.
Peltonen on in deep, working now for Olli Jokinen. Feeds one across, quick shot, ricocheted away off Brian Leach, who stepped in the way of that shot coming from Hentunen. Run along by Timonen, around for Hentunen again. Lobs it on back, booted away by Jokinen. Hentunen a shot, and that one squibbed wide. Finland trying to come up with something here in this 4-on-4. Trailing in the game 1-0 on the goal by Doug Waite. Thrown to the slot. Henson and just plowed out of the way. Strong play there by Steve Konowalchuk. As ahead with it comes Leach in a 3-on-2 to Konowalchuk. Konowalchuk short side shot over the glove of Kiprasov to the glass. So Nieminen will settle things down. Got ahead now to Timonen and back in. 27 to go on the 4-on-4. Ash paddles it along, hoping for Tony Amonte up the wall, and he gets it. Can't clear out though, so help will have to come from Aaron Miller. No change in the demeanor of either team with the scoring of the goal. Sometimes it makes a difference, but it hasn't here. Run to the ditch was Amonte. More banging in the corner. Eventually turned on and slid across for the carry back out. Penalty time is up. Both teams regain a man. Brought in now for a drive that's turned aside. Getting in the way of that was Aaron Miller. Onto the back it comes for another shot, and that one is deflected up into the mesh, and play again is stopped. David Amber, Barry Melrose back at our studios, gentlemen.
All right, second intermission coming your way in a couple of minutes. Barry, pace is picked up. Advantage USA?
Pace is picked up because of the goal that they scored. Now the Finns have to change the way they play, and that'll benefit the United States.
All right, back to the best-looking broadcast crew in North America.
I love it. Thanks,
We still haven't gotten Finland conquered, though, right? What JR does.
Yeah, we already established that.
Ahead now comes Koivu moving in, crosses. Oh, and he's run off the play. Slithers a shot in on goal, and a strong play by Ken Klee.
You see what happened to Brian Leach at the blue line, though? Tuomo Ruutu just took him down. I was really surprised there wasn't a call.
Well, it's not too often Brian Leach is going to get caught.
Look at this, though. Look what happens to him.
Well, that doesn't surprise me, but what surprises me is that Saku Koivu tried to make a move here. Shoot the puck! He tried to make a move here. Ken Klee gets a great job of putting a stick on Saku Koivu's hands, not allowing him to get any kind of shot out. Great defensive play.
Team USA ahead in this game on the goal by Doug Waite, 1-0. They're able to get it out as far as center. The shots in the game are 9-7, and another chance around in front. Drury defended away by Lettman. And we get a stoppage of play as the net is dislodged behind Kiprasov and play halted. Tomorrow, ESPN2's coverage of the World Cup of Hockey continues with the other semifinal matchup. Mario Lemieux and Team Canada going up against Jaromir Jagr in the Czech Republic. The action at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. That will be a lot of fun, too. We haven't seen a lot of offense, not a lot of scoring, but break the tie here. I said I didn't see the two teams making a difference in play. Barry Melrose felt that Team USA was picked up by the goal. I'm willing to be wrong, but can I get another vote one way or the other?
Can you get a witness? Well, just watch for the territorial play. Where is the puck? And it's starting to be more in Finland's end than Team USA's end. Now, there aren't any more scoring chances being generated, but see what's happening now? Team USA back in the game plan. It's much easier to stick to your game plan, which is keep the puck along the boards, get it in deep when you got the lead.
We talked about earlier how we hoped, or we thought, that USA, we didn't want them to get frustrated. I'm telling you what, I think Finland is getting really frustrated and is even more frustrated than the Americans that were in the beginning of the first period.
Well, if that's a fact, watch for them to start to force pucks into areas that they shouldn't, and watch for counterattack by Team USA coming the other way.
And the reason I say that is because you see a lot more chippiness by the Finns. They're throwing their sticks around, they're throwing the bodies a little bit more, the little cheap shots. That's an indication of frustration to me.
And an offside, too. I mean, they're a disciplined hockey team. You don't see them go offside very often.
What is the difference in this Finnish team, if there is any, from the teams in the past? They've never claimed a whole lot of international glory, and in tournaments, only one World Tournament Championship over the years, no Olympic gold medals.
I think it's standing in the paint.
That's it.
I think it's Mika Kiprasov. Teemu Selanne called him the best goaltender our country has ever had. And that is the big reason these players think they can beat anybody right now.
Nearly 2 periods played. Good shoulder. To the last 23. Halpern to the point. Tipped away from Miller. Both teams very attentive to defense here. Thrown right back ahead. Turned on now by Eloranta. Run to the ditch.
That's the play you got to make by Langenbrunner right there.
Konowalchuk, a shot grabbed and held by Kiprusoff.
I like the way Brian Leetch is playing tonight. I said earlier, he's got to get in the mix more offensively. He's got to lead the rush and get that puck to the blue line and start making some plays. The last 2 times he's been on the ice, he's been able to get the puck, get some speed, get the blue line, and make beautiful little backhand passes, little sauces, and good shots on net.
There's the good play by Jamie Langenbrunner that sprung Brian Leetch loose. Helps to have some open ice. Brian was the guy that Barry Melrose talked about, too, that had to step up.
I agreed with him.
He was listening.
I agreed with him.
Faceoff wins 28-17 for Team USA. A lot more hits in this game than shots. 10-7 the United States after 40 minutes. Team USA on the goal by Doug Waite from Scott Gomez, and Paul Martin have the lead after 40 by a score of 1-0. And you go back 17 games. And all of the battling that started with 8. They get it down to 4. At the end of this game, it'll be 3. 1-0 the United States.
Dougie Waite giving the U.S. a 1-0 lead through 40 minutes in St. Paul, Minnesota. Barry Melrose, David Amber. The U.S. possibly just 20 minutes away from having a chance to defend their World Cup title in Toronto on Tuesday. If you're Ron Wilson, what are you telling the guys in the dressing room?
Well, if you watch that period, the minute the Americans took over that period after Chris Chellers threw that big hit in the corner, you got Jason Blake creating some stuff, creating emotion. Langenbrunner throwing the body. When you start hitting and you start initiating the physical play, that makes the other team angry. That gets the other team emotional. And the Finns do not want to play that way. They want to be very passive, very solid in the neutral zone. The Americans have got to continue to hit. They got to continue to get the puck deep. They got to continue to play with emotions. Again, North American players have to play on the edge. They have to play with emotion. That's what separates us from the European players. That's what makes us better than European players.
And team scoring first, once again, 15-0-1. That is a good omen for Team USA.
It's over then.
It's not over, but it's a good omen. Joe Micheletti standing by with one of the American players.
Doug Waite's goal, first goal of the tournament, was obviously a big one. Did Gomez find you on that play? Because you seem to have come out of nowhere, or did you have to yell for the puck?
I think Gomer, we've been practicing a little bit, and he knows when I'm back in the point. I try to keep very active. I try to confuse the defensive team as much as possible, and a guy with the vision of him made a great pass through 3 or 4 skates, and fortunately it went in.
Now, the game has obviously been played very tight by both teams. You've got a 1-0 lead going into the third. How will the third be played?
I think more of the same. I think no one wants to make that mistake, but obviously eventually if we can keep that lead, they're going to have to start coming, and we're going to try to keep putting the pucks in good areas, stay out of the box, be disciplined in our system, and hope for the best.
Barry Melrose talked about your team maybe lifting things up a little bit after your goal. Did you feel that on the bench?
Yeah, definitely. I think the crowd's been awesome tonight, and it's kind of what we've been waiting for here. It's been awesome atmosphere, and really it's picked us up when we needed it. And I think after the goal, the crowds kind of got into it, and our team felt the adrenaline and got some more chances. So hopefully that continues in the third.
Thanks for the time. Good luck.
Thanks, Joe.
Well, Joe brings your name into it. Barry Melrose. I'm surprised he didn't say Barry who? Barry Melrose.
They needed some other guys to kick in offense. Wade's done it. Leach has jumped into the play much more. Scotty Gomez has been active offensively. They need that continue in the third period because it looks like the Madonna line has really been taken care of offensively. Someone else got to kick in goals.
Team effort's everything. 11 different Finnish players have scored. Doug Waite is the 6th American to have scored. Tomorrow, of course, you got Canada and the Czech Republic with a preview. Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement.
Canada has been flawless so far, guys, and the Czech Republic has finally awakened after 2 games in which we kept hearing they were disinterested, they were disorganized, and all of that, but now they're back competing for a berth in the finals.
But now they get to go up against Canada, and I still don't think they have much of a chance to win the game. I mean, I also had a head scout over there in Europe because I didn't get to go to Europe, but Brian Engblom was over there, and I chatted with Brian, and even the Czech Republic players are saying, we think our team is too similar one player to the next. There's no Vaclav Varada type players. They can get in there and really grind things out and do things physically when they have to. And I don't think they're much of a match for Canada. The one guy that could make a difference is Jaromir Jagr, and he left the last game that they played over there with an ice pack. And the reason I don't think he is even going to be a factor in this game is he's always had trouble playing against big guys. And Canada can put Eric Brewer out there and Jay Bouwmeester and Adam Foote and Robin Regeer. They play hard, they play with bite, and they play with size. And that's one of the reasons I think he's not going to be a factor. I don't really see the Czech Republic having much of a chance in this game.
What do you want to talk about, the Canada with 15 goals scored or the 3 goals that they've given up?
Well, it's a combination, but I think the way to look at it right now is that they've taken turns being unstoppable, different players at different times. I thought a guy like Simon Gagner was their best player the first 2 games, but now clearly it's the line of Sakic and Lemieux and Jerome McGinley that are absolutely getting it done to the point of being unstoppable. And when you combine what these 3 bring, the brute force and the scoring knack of Jerome McGinley, who got a couple in the last game, the great reach and the vision and the passing skills of Mario Lemieux, and the all-around game of Joe Sakic. When these guys are on, we've talked about the Mike Modano, Billy Guerin, and Keith Tkachuk line playing for Team USA. This line is every bit as imaginative and probably even more dangerous offensively, I think, than the Team USA line. So Team Canada's really on a roll now. I have Canada all the way in this game.
Well, they won in the Olympics in 02. They've won the last 2 World Championships in 03 and this past spring in 04 too. Certainly the heavy favorites going in against the team that won the gold in 98. Czech Republic and Canada. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, guys. They make a good point. Bill Clement, though, he's basically saying it could be a done deal. Canada's too good. Are they that good?
Well, a couple of things have happened since these guys talked. Marty Brodeur has got a bad wrist, and there's even a question mark if he'll play in this game. Certainly everyone thinks he will, but it is a question mark, so that bothers the Canadian fans. But they do have 2 great backups. It looks like Luongo will play if Brodeur can't. The only thing I'm worried about with the Czechs is the Czechs can score. And if the Czechs could ever score the first goal, that changes the whole dynamics of their team. All of a sudden, they think they can win. All of a sudden, they think they can compete. So it's paramount that Canada score the first goal, which they've done in every game. And if they do that, yeah, I think it's going to be a done deal. Canada will win. But the Czechs have so much firepower that if they score the first goal, all of a sudden they start feeling good about themselves.
The Czech Republic can score, and they can score in bunches. 13 goals in the last 2 games, both of them obviously wins. Canada, though, a perfect 4-0. Tomorrow we'll find out if they can make it 5-0 and get to the World Cup final. Czech Republic, Canada. Toyota World Cup of Hockey rolls on. Semifinal action on ESPN2. Puck drops 6:30 tomorrow. Don't miss it. And don't miss the 3rd period either. 1-0, the U.S. on top. You see America's future, watching America's present. 3rd period action next.
ESPN's presentation of the Toyota World Cup of Hockey is brought to you by the Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Not just big, life-sized. And Samuel Adams. When you're ready for a distinctive brew, Samuel Adams, always a good decision.
With Bill Clement, Jeremy Roenick, Mike Emmerich back at Xcel Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. Mike Modano has been splendid in this tournament, and his team is leading 1-0 going into the 3rd period. Do you have any fearless forecast for what we're going to see here?
Well, something would have to change for Team USA to lose this game, because nobody has lost after scoring first, and for that matter, nobody's overcome a lead to be able to win. Team USA now has to be as patient as they've been this entire game. I would expect you would agree with that with the lead.
Well, it's a very
difficult. Speak up.
No, there's no question, but it's a very difficult situation to be in, because they do not want to sit back against this Finn team. They want to keep going forward a little bit, but still maintain the great poise that they have through neutral ice.
So you like that near the tail end of the period, after the goal was scored, that they kept going with what their plan was?
You have to keep going at them. The worst thing you can do is sit back. Don't sit back. Keep going at them. That's sometimes a better offense makes a better defense.
Where the game is played, if you can play it in the offensive zone. But at the same time, they don't want to force any passes or try to make any plays that aren't there. Guys like Yuri Lettinen can counter. Kind of interesting, a little different matchup here to start this period, but we'll see if Team USA changes their defense pairing of Aaron Miller and Brian Leetch, because it's been almost all Rafalski and Paul Martin against the Koivu line in this game.
But Paul Martin came in the 3rd game, and this is the 5th for Team USA, playing in front of hometown fans, one-time University of Minnesota Golden Gopher, and showed absolutely no awe of the situation at all. It was so cool right from the very beginning. And he had a big assignment to think about overnight here. To be up against Teemu Selanne, one-time 70-plus goal scorer in this league, and Finland, which has been blemish-free except for a tie. Here comes Saku Koivu, and a shot, and it went wide, perhaps forced by Rafalski, who caught up at the last moment. Flung right back down as they've gotten Rafalski out, but Leetch is on the near side away from the bench and hasn't been changed yet. Thrown on for Konowalchuk, but it's taken right back by Jarkko Ruutu and eventually flipped off.
I think what was said earlier about the Finns maybe changing their game a little bit because the U.S. is on the board. You're going to see them come with a little bit more offense than they would usually come with, because they're desperate. They need a goal early.
So chance taking time for Finland has come early. You wouldn't think that it might be until later on, but you feel they're doing that right now.
Yeah, they're going to come with a lot more poise. The hitting might pick up a little bit, but offensively, the defense are going to come, and they need to get more shots on net.
Saku Koivu with a little bit of daylight. Team USA has not given this player much daylight at all. He was able to squeeze by Jeff Halpern, and it was Steve Konowalchuk sprinting back to get a stick on that shot.
Robert Esch is really going to go into the locker room after this game and thank a lot of guys. If they come out with the winners tonight, they have a lot of people to thank for all the great defensive plays tonight, I'll tell you that.
Only 7 shots by Finland through 2 periods, and here early into the third, Esch cancels out the icing, slung on back for the keep, and the feed for a quick shot that went wide off the stick of Hentunen.
See how quickly the Finns seal off the wall, though, when Robert Esch gets it?
Turned over very quickly, thrown right back along by Drury, but quickly controlled by the Finns back into their own zone, and that gives Team USA to bring out a fresh group of forwards, and they'll use Mike Modano now along with Keith Tkachuk and Bill Guerin.
Chris Drury went off the ice smashing his stick on the ice. He was not happy with himself, nor should he have been. He didn't get the puck in deep when he had a chance.
Long drive is off the pad of Esch and swung right back out to Tkachuk. Flips it on, hoping for Bill Guerin, but it will be handled by Kiprasov. Timo Timonen lobs it on back, and it came over for Leach. Little hand pass across that will bring about a whistle.
Well, one thing, I am glad that Hentunen did not have his head up when he got this puck in the slot. He got a puck, watch, it comes across the boards. What a great little play by Kapanen to put it right out front. If he has his head up, look at how much time he has to shoot. There's nobody there. He could have held it backed up, and got a real quality shot in that. In case instead he rushed it, he shot it too quick, ended up even missing it in net. Canceled off a great scoring opportunity.
Drilled back in again, and Rafalski could not come up with that one. Lettinen flips it along, and it went through Solani. Koivu is in.
You always have more time to shoot than you think. If you're out there, you don't think so. But up here, it always happens. You always have an extra split second. Take it.
That's probably what he was told when he got to the bench, if he didn't know it already. Icing call. Tomorrow, ESPN2's coverage of the World Cup of Hockey continues with the other semifinal matchup. Mario Lemieux and Team Canada against Jaromir Jagr and the Czech Republic. You see that 6:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Pacific on ESPN2. We have a team's name to put in the top of this. Maybe 17:23 from now, or maybe it will have to go to overtime. But it is 1-0 Team USA. I don't believe in those jinxes. Do you?
Yes, I'm a hockey player, man.
Always superstitious.
And he's got dinner reservations. It ain't about superstition.
Centering passes away from Konowalchuk and dug out. If they are tied, we'll elaborate further. They go to the 20-minute overtime periods that you normally see in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Look at the pursuit on Konowalchuk. 3 blue jerseys tracked him, 2 from behind, 1 from the front. The Finns are relentless in the neutral zone. What Team USA simply wants to do is get the red line and try to chip it in deep. That was Chris Drury that just did it that time. Remember the last shift? He didn't get it done. He did that one.
Toyota's World Cup of Hockey from St. Paul, Minnesota. Semifinal matchup between Team USA and Team Finland. And on the goal in the second period by Doug Waite, the United States is ahead, hoping to get in that berth for all of the marbles on Tuesday in Toronto against the winner of tomorrow night's Czech Republic and Canada game. Tkachuk trying to finesse through it, stolen. Solani a drive, and it's turned aside by Esch, but it's called back on an offside.
Well, going back to what was said in between periods, I think by Mike Modano, he said that the U.S. wants to try to get the puck in the right places. They're playing very, very well defensively. They're playing very well structurally. But I think what's most important is they put those pucks against the board. They keep them out of the middle of the ice so that Finland doesn't get the quality scoring chances. And you'll see that where they're trying to put the puck is the least most dangerous areas.
Paul Martin. Rafalski and ahead. Ladled back by Modano. Chased back down by Aki Berg. Getting their first good job by Bill Guerin onto the outside. Tkachuk tried to feed Modano. Got it back for a shaking pass over to Martin and a drive. And that one kicked aside as that bounced off of Jokinen in front. Kept to the outside now by Modano. Onto the back. Lobbed on back near Modano again. It sailed around as Tkachuk was buried at the front of the net. On a play by Ville Nieminen.
What a terrific play by Paul Martin. His shot was blocked, and instead of retreating, he pounced on the Finnish player with the puck and kept it alive. I mean, most young guys would retreat there.
He comes to the bench with Rafalski now, replaced by Leach And also Miller is back ahead with it, and losing is Smolinski. Keeping it alive, though, is Waite, and he sailed a shot that went wide. Jere Lehtinen brings it ahead for Finland. Hands on now to Solani. Lays it on a cross, but it's offside.
Put himself offside in the play. Number 10 is the Minnesota native that went to Elk River High School. Number 10 in white. You see him at the blue line here. Paul Martin, the big blast, blocked. Does he pull out? No, he went right after his man because he knew he had Mike Modano coming back, and that kept the play alive. I mean, he didn't look nervous in the first game, but he admitted this morning that his first 3 shifts, beneath the cool exterior, there was kind of a pool of mush that was going on inside him. But you know, you live through the first 2 or 3 shifts, and then you're okay. And he's been just a picture of stability for Team USA since about the 2nd or 3rd shift of his first game.
The Leach-Miller combination, occasionally they get Ken Klee there, but here's a drive to the front, and they score! Olli Jokinen on a drive that kicked back out to the slot, and Jokinen quickly stashed it home, and Finland has tied the game.
This is what I was afraid of, and this is strictly caused by not getting the puck off the boards and out of the zone, and it was a bad bounce. This comes around, Leachy gets tripped up for one thing, he's going to throw it around. All they're going to do is throw it at the net. Watch, it's going to hit one of the guys and come right back to him, and Jokinen puts it in net. That's just a bad break by the U.S. and a great play by Jokinen to stay with it and not leave and watch the puck, put it in the back of the net.
I can see what Brian Leach was thinking. I mean, he had 2 Finns, one on either side of him, so he's thinking, look, there's got to be coverage out at the point. If I got 2 guys here, there wasn't.
Teppo Numminen will get the primary assist on that. Jokinen collects the goal, and a 1-1 tie now. Early stages of the 3rd period. Paul Martin is back out there again and retrieves on defense. Rafalski running a little screen for him, takes the return pass. Lobbed ahead, but it skipped past Jeff Halpern. That check just shrugged off and kind of wall jumped by Solani. He and Lehtinen and Koivu are out there now, and good cancellation that time on Kapanen. Meanwhile, lobbed on back by Martin into the glove of Kiprasov. Keeps play alive.
Can we go back just maybe about 2 minutes, Scott?
Yeah, I know the overtime thing.
And say you're not superstitious? Well, if this game goes back the way it did in the first period, we're going to play for 3 more days.
And you guys will probably have me out of here by then.
No, we love you anyway, brother.
Up the wing it comes. Drive deflected in front and cleared away enough by the defense so that Jason Blake can shift it back out. Gives on to Gomez. Lobs hoping for Drury, but shift time is over, and so another obedient change by Team USA.
We're going to go back to the chess match. We're going to go back with both teams not being so afraid to make a mistake here at 1-1 with 13 and a half minutes left. You do not want to be the one to make that mistake.
Booted back to center again. Little pass on to Tkachuk. Hands on to Bill Guerin. Modano out there near side as well. Guerin battling in the corner. Locked up there. It bounced off Aaron Miller and back to center. He retreats and plays it on. Taken by Tkachuk. Hit by a pair, including Riku Hall, and Bill Guerin comes by 2. Long drive from center by Nieminen was wide and ricochets back to center, and they're still tangled up across the way. An extra shove from Guerin as you watch Esch stop it behind and play it along to Modano, who sweeps it back down and will take the icing from this. It is a snarl time in this game, a 1-1 tie, a total of 19 shots, 10-9 Team USA. Far more hits and animosity developing here with the #1 line for Team USA getting involved. The final 4 goaltenders in this tournament. Marty Brodeur at a .75. Vaucoon with a team that has just now risen to the challenge. Kiprasov unbeaten. And Robert Esch has had a lot of rubber and stopped most of it. Until tonight, he's had very little, only 9 shots and 8 saves. Well, Rafalski with Martin. Up front, the U.S. goes with Amonte as well as Doug Waite. The other winger is Brian Smolinski. That pass went through him right into Kiprasov for a little bunt. Chased off was Amonte as they still work. Smolinski turns to the back. It comes. Rafalski a shot. And that ricocheted off Waite and is taken back out now by Lehtinen. But then Martin again. And offside. Check out the Samuel Adams World Cup of Hockey Tournament update. Canada has been unbelievable. 4 wins, 15 goals. No losses, 3 goals against. They face the Czech Republic in the semifinals tomorrow. Marty Brodeur leads all goalies with a .75. And as Barry mentioned with David in the intermission, there are some uncertainties because of some injuries, but we're not saying that they're going to be remarkably healed, but the chances are good. Trickled in on goal, and that covered by Kiprasov, and play is stopped.
Great play by Mike Modano. He came in, this puck is up in the air, and first it's going to take a bounce, but he still is able to control it. Look at this. He's bouncing, he still gets control of it, and he reaches back. Maybe if Keith Tkachuk could have got a stick on it, but Mike Modano still gets enough presence to put it on net with the two guys going at it.
See the big bodies banging in there, though. This is where Mike Modano and Keith Tkachuk and Billy Guerin have to use what is really their top asset. It's their size and their strength. The pretty stuff isn't there. The open ice isn't there. They have to be dump and chase guys, especially here in a 1-1/3 period.
Guerin at 210 pounds, Tkachuk at 225. Both of those burly wingers are 6'2". Another offside call.
Keith Tkachuk was what? How much did he weigh? 225?
That's what he's listed at.
That's 75 pounds each leg. This guy is a horse, maybe 100 pounds each leg. He gets in front of the net, and he gets those two stumps in front, and you can't move this guy. He's just a massive power of a hockey player.
For that to work, they've got to get puck possession away from the net, and that's something that Mike Modano and Billy Guerin haven't been able to do yet in the game. Excellent job by Team Finland. We talked in our open about how good they are defensively. They're living up to their reputation as being really most of us think that they're the best defensive team in the tournament, in spite of Canada's great goals against average.
Drop back in wide of Esch again. Leach turning with it there. And it's turned over for a shot, and getting a piece of it was Esch. A rising shot from Tuomo Ruutu. And a great chance on a turnover by Finland. The face-off will be back near Esch again.
Very, very uncharacteristic of Brian Leach. First of all, he makes a great play in the corner. Watch this little, see you later. But then he comes out. He's got to get rid of the puck earlier, because why not? They never quit. The Finns never quit. Guy came from behind him, picked him up, pocketed him, and a great scoring chance. Get rid of it quicker, Leachy, but he's playing super tonight.
Go up the handle of Robert Esch's stick. I think it did. No U.S. goalie has ever pitched a shutout in a Canada Cup or World Cup game. This is game 41 for Team USA, and Robert Esch lost his shutout moments ago, so that streak continues.
Dragging ahead is Hentunen, cannot get by. Down to the ice went Solani. Hentunen tried to return to him, but instead bringing it ahead is Chelios, connecting on to Konowalchuk. Konowalchuk lays it back in, a defensive change for Team USA. Burrowing in is Langenbrunner, and the battle on the boards. Now the two-a-side battle, it's sent along now. Rafalski touches, Alfred a shot, and a save, rebound, shrugged away by Kiprasov, and he reaches up and grabs it again. 3 strong plays in net by Kiprasov.
Including one out of the air, I think, by Jamie Langenbrunner right in front. This hard-working line. This is the grind line for Team USA. Haven't mentioned their names very often tonight. Halpern, Konowalchuk, and Langenbrunner. There's a shot by Halpern, the rebound by Konowalchuk, and it bounced off of the end of the stick of Langenbrunner in the air, and I think he might have touched it twice. Watch this. Once there. Oh, he couldn't get it a second time. Excellent job by Kiprasov, snaring that one out of midair.
The first shots of the period for Team USA. Tipped right back along. Onside play, but cleared out by Finland. Shoved right back in by the United States. They burrow in and will try it again with Smolinski tipping it behind. And the net is dislodged by Amonte. So you notice a change from the scoring of the Finland goal to now. We talked earlier about changes when the United States scored.
Still looks the same to me.
What was that? I was sleeping for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, so we've reverted to the first period.
We've reverted back to the nip and tuck and the defensive style. Like I said, these guys do not want to make a mistake. They're going to play the trap game until someone does.
Wait, battle. Let it kick behind, and Timonen takes over for the Finnish defense. Gives to Teppo Numminen on a cross ice. Little rag move by Jokinen. Feeds it ahead, and smeared out of the play was Jarkko Ruutu. Play continues the kick along. Chelios there to outreach Jokinen. They try to work it back out. Can't do it just yet. Good hold. Lob back by Jarkko Ruutu, but brought back ahead by Team USA. Some sparring there between Ruutu and Waite across the way. The Ruutu brothers have been mean players tonight and have gotten an awful lot of Team USA's temper going. Ahead for the drive back in. Esch is there to get it. These are the shots in the period. 4-2 in the game. Team USA leads 12-11. 12-11 in the game. Waite and Jokin in the goal scorers. Lettinen feeds it across. Oh, and Kachuk had a man lined up and nearly sent O.C. Vannanen to services. To the corner they battle.
Services almost sent him to his grave.
Well, the services would be first. Played back along now for the grab by Martin.
I thought you meant the stick services that the doctors were going to give him downstairs.
Oh, Madonna with a rocket of a drive that's turned aside.
Oh.
Under 9 minutes to go in the third.
I apologize, Doc.
That's all right. Some vicious hitting in this contest. Far more than the scoring chances, but entertaining. Ahead now, a drive by Blake. Rockets wide.
Mike knows the order of things at a funeral. Just understand that.
I don't.
Back ahead comes Jokinen again. Jokinen drops.
I do know the order of the doctors downstairs, though.
You have met them before, as Mr. Clement. Anyone who's ever played. Play stopped here, and it's tied at 1.
Well, Teemu Selanne told us before the game there was concern with jet lag because they flew back into North America on Tuesday night. And generally, they say it takes 5 to 7 days to get going. So as this game continues, you wonder about their health. And there is some history here. Teemu Selanne played on the 96 team when they had to fly all the way over to play a quarterfinal game against Russia, and they lost 5-1. And they felt that because of the travel was one of the big reasons why. Guys?
Dealt back in for Team USA again. Thanks, Joe. Please sends it back around. Once more, it comes back to Ken Klee again. Well, I don't notice any slowing in Team Finland, particularly when they got those 2 chances in the earlier part of this period.
And they don't really play a trap. Trap, you force the play over to one side. When Team USA comes, watch for 2 forwards with big pursuit, and then they've got a left wing lock. They've got 3 guys across the blue line behind them.
Lobbed on out to the chance of USA. Konowalchuk ahead with Chelios. Hands it across, and Langenbrenner had turned away. Wasn't looking, and right back comes Finland now. It's brought on by Hentunen. Sent to the corner and kept alive there. Fed back for Hentunen. Shot, and it's held chest high by the kneeling Robert Ashe.
First of all, you can't turn the puck over at the opposing blue line because it's always going to come back and haunt you in the offensive zone. Here, a great pass out front by Kapanen again, and a quick shot that Esche just put it pretty good, huh? Right in the chest. Good save, Esche. Don't turn the puck over on the offensive blue line. Get it deep.
7.5 to go in the third period. It's been a pretty carefully played game, but boy, that was one pop-up that nearly caused big problems. Smolinski trying to generate something at the other end. That fails. Salo able to lift it back along, and eventually it plops out to be taken by Selanne. Cannot get by. Just wedged enough from behind that Rafalski could tap it away. Lob back in again. Paul Martin turns to take it. Koivu in on him. Cancels him out. Koivu right back, but help came from the opposite side in the part of Rafalski. Half-forwards battle. Monty dropped it on back, lifted right back near him again. Numminen kept it alive, shaken back in again by Koivu. And so Martin once more, chased off by Tuomo Ruutu, lobbed back out again by Rafalski and ladled down by Jokinen. And again, back in on Robert Ashe. Decides to paddle this one up the wing, got it to Bill Guerin. He is out there with Kachuk and Madonna, but the pass cut by Jokinen, swung right on back and just carried out of the play with a good shoulder check with Billy Peltonen. Madonna able to swing it back out. Kachuk connects across now to Brian Leetch, surrounded by blue, black, and white. In on the goal it comes, and Kiprasov leaves it behind. Jokinen moves in, and Kachuk tried to battle it along, but it's outletted again by the Finns. 6.25 minutes to go, and a 2-line pass has stopped the clock. The National Football League season is underway, and ESPN's Sunday Night Football begins with a huge matchup in the AFC. Priest Holmes and the Kansas City Chiefs try to get a quick jump on the division when they take on Champ Bailey and their arch rivals, the Denver Broncos. Sunday Night Football also available in ESPN HD. Call your cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network today. Coverage begins with NFL primetime at 7:30 Eastern, only on ESPN.
Well, the U.S. better watch out. They've had a couple turnovers now in the neutral zone and the opposing blue line. Just errant passes. If they don't stop these little mistakes here, it might cost them, end up in the back of their net.
No way Ville Nieminen was letting up on this shot, even though he heard the whistle before he wound.
If there's one guy that forgets his nice pills, it's probably that guy.
On the ice, he sure does.
Downstairs in the morning when you're chatting with him, not at all, but you're right.
He was a rebellious child, I think.
That's a pretty good hunch. I like that. He's a rebellious adult, right? Why wouldn't he have been a rebellious child? Look at this.
He just got another shot from Chris Chelios. You know the guy's going to start getting under his skin just like he gets under theirs. Don't be surprised if Nieminen takes a stupid penalty right now, because he's known to do that. He did it for Calgary a couple times in the playoffs.
At the same time, a lot of guys have taken stupid penalties against him, too.
This is Klee at Jokinen. Under 6 minutes to go, third period. Game tied at 1. Scott Gomez. Brilliant pass on the first. Eventually it's outletted to Blake, who turns away from Salo. Blake drops a little pass that's knifed away from Gomez, very carefully back down by Ossi Väänänen. Now Leach. Laid a pass ahead, too far for Gomez, and so Timonen will take over. Under 5.5 to go, third period. 13 shots to 12. The United States in the game that is tied at 1. Gomez around behind. Numminen working on him. A little trickler in front, easily read and controlled by Eloranta.
Well, that's what they have to do more. U.S. has to get that puck behind the net. Let's start some offense from behind. Get guys to the front of the net, but you just can't throw it away. But you have to have some support. But start from behind the net.
Chant begins again. Halpern lobs it in. Konowalchuk after that. Numminen, the veteran, goes to work on him. Langenbrunner with it. Can't finesse by. Help from Konowalchuk. Little lacrosse check to the back by Numminen. To the outside, it is Halpern again. Leaned on there by Timonen. Out of a cluster of players. Fed back to the point. Wrist shot by Rafalski is knocked down. Unable to get loose was Langenbrunner. Some strong defensive play near the front of the goal by the forward that time, Jukka Hentunen. And cranked long and back in by Eloranta, and a pad stop made by Esch. Both teams make another change. The Finns get Koivu out there with Solani and with Letton. Ron Wilson has the defense pair he wants out there, and they are handling it right now. Rafalski 28, Martin 10. Dumped back in for the chase down that comes from Tony Littman. Littman, a little help. On now for a pass that is motored back out by Koivu. Handed on to Solani. Can he go by Leach? Solani puts on the brakes and deals it behind. Around with it is Koivu. Little pass out in front. Escapes to the wall. Held there by Väänänen. Shovel shot. Oh, Koivu scores at the side of the net. And it is 2-1 Finland with 3:54 to go.
What a heads-up play by Ossi Väänänen on the boards. This is a young defenseman, a young kid. Gets the puck on the boards, and he holds it and holds it. Nobody sees Saku Koivu on the other side of the net, and he throws it right across, and Saku Koivu lost it, but has the patience enough to get it back in front and stuff it in the open net.
Here's the play by Väänänen. But watch how much time Saku Koivu has at the side. He fumbled the first one, was able to pull it back with the backhand across the goal line and then score. This is not the matchup that Team USA had out there this entire game on the blue line. It was Brian Leach and Aaron Miller, not the match of Martin and Rafalski that they would have preferred.
In this entire tournament, which began on the 30th of August, this is the first time there has been a change in the lead. The U.S. scored first, Finland connected with 2. But to the outside, it's Modano looking to the front. He's got Tkachuk there, and then fed one that is just cleared back out again by Olli Jokinen into center. Under 3.5 to go. Chelios weak toss. Laid back on by Klee, taken by Tkachuk again. Motors right back in, drops onto Modano. Modano fed one in front. It went near Guerin, but he could not control, and again it's dropped on back. Martin pivots back to play, hands on to Modano. Fresh change for Team USA. Modano comes to the bench after he lifted that in. Jason Blake there. Oh, was he ever hit? Oh, connecting with him was Aki Berg, and there'll be a penalty coming from it.
That's a good call.
Power play for Team USA. They're down by 1. 4 years ago, Lake Placid. Team USA trailed Finland 2-1 in the third period. But goals by Phil Vercotta, Rod McClanahan, and Mark Johnson lifted them to victory and the gold medal in the Olympics Jim Craig celebrated with the flag draped around his neck. Will history repeat in a different setting? Power play on for Team USA. They trail in the game 2-1, 3 minutes to go. Little trickler out in front cannot be read by Smolinski. Instead, it's kept alive, though, by Paul Martin. He and Waite are the point men now on this power play, and it is held to the outside by Gomez. Gets it back again. He's got Waite to his left to pass to. Gives over for Smolinski to save! Made by Kiprasov. Oh, what a shot!
Save that was. Well, that's why this goaltender, Kiprasov, has been one of the best players in the National Hockey League for the last 5 months. He's awesome.
There's a paycheck save right there. He earned it all on one save.
Held to the outside. Loser of this one is done. Wrist shot. Held in front, and then kneeling on it is Teppo Numminen, and then a little extra is reaching in and trying to get to it was Tony Amonte.
Boy, did you see them run to the aid and the protection of Teppo Numminen? I think the puck got caught in his pants. He didn't know where it was, so he just went down in the block position again. Tony Amonte took a poke at him. He is revered by his teammates, Teppo Numminen is.
Toyota's World Cup of Hockey from St. Paul, Minnesota, one of 2 semifinals. Carried tonight on ESPN2. Tomorrow night, same deal in Toronto, Czech Republic, and Canada. It is a thrill to be here. Fans are standing all around this arena to watch the power play that's got 1:13 to go. Team USA is down by 1. If they lose this game, that will be it for the World Cup tournament for them. Gaining the zone is Madonna. Tried to get it to Kachuk and did. Carried off, though, and taken to the boards and glass by Sami Salo. Puck turned over to Finland again with 55 left on the kill. Lob back in by Jarkko Ruutu. And back to glide by and get it is Brian Leach. 3/4 of a minute to go on the power play. Round behind, it's Madonna. A little lean from Numminen. Puck cleared out of play, and the signal is that the faceoff will come back outside. Well, will this be the hero of this game? Bill Guerin, who along with Kachuk flanked Madonna in a lineup change and a shift in line combinations, and the U.S. hasn't lost since.
I'll tell you what, right now with 1:40 seconds left, there's this desperation time. The U.S. has got to send everything that they have, especially with only 30 seconds left here in this power play. They need something now or they're in trouble.
90 to go. 23 on the power play. Scurrying back in is Jason Blake. Blake with a wrist shot, and that deflected, and it goes out of play.
It's just amazing to me how Mika Kiprasov makes everything look so easy. This is not an easy shot to save, but he's just in the right position, and he makes it look like he does this in his sleep every single day. Watch this. Great little play by Blakey to come in, high glove. No problem, Mika says.
It slipped up on edge, too, but it still wasn't a problem.
Maybe to make it even harder. A fluttering puck.
His own teammates marvel at his ability to flatline. I'll tell you what, if you ever wanted to bet on an athlete to fool a lie detector test, bet on Mika Kiprasov.
Only you would think of that.
I don't know, buddy. Be careful where you're going with that. But he's that in control of his emotions. Nothing phases him. There seem to be no peaks and no valleys, at least on the outside. And that's why I said if anybody could fool a lie detector test, it would be him, because his heart rate would never, ever give him away.
He showed that in the playoffs last year with Calgary.
4 feet by 6, yawning open. So the power play on, and it's 6 against a goalie and 4. Quite a goalie. Grubbed back off by Salo, and it will trickle back down, but be picked up by Rapolsky with 10 to go on the power play, and down to the last minute and 10 in regulation time. Keith Kachuk hands it ahead, gaining the zone with this is Guerin. Lobbed it back in, Madonna after it. Swung around to the half boards, the battle on there. Waite pitches in. Saku Koivu bounced one that kicked on across. Chased down and cleared back down and wide. And this does not come on a power play. This is an icing, and the faceoff will be back near Kiprasov with 53.1 to go.
This is a big no-no. In the National Hockey League, you never ice the puck with under a minute left with an empty net. And I know guys want to get the goal and everything like that, but don't be selfish. And I didn't know if he thought the penalty was over or not, but make sure you just get the puck out. Don't ice it. Now there's a face-off in their own zone. This could come back to hurt them.
U.S. has done well on face-offs out of the 70. They've won 41. Mike Modano does not prevail on this one, though. Timonen drills it back off. Bouncer went knifed off Gomez. Sent further, but kept alive by Rafalski and fired wide. 43 to go. Bill Guerin at the half boards. Around behind now for Gomez. Sent it on the front. Kachuk battling. And at the side of the net, dug out by Gomez again. Works on Bonanno. Back on the point. Rafalski. Back to Mike Modano again. Over for Guerin. Onto the back. Rafalski. Then across for Modano. Lobs one. Oh, it has to work. Without a stick, it's Kiprusoff now. Still to the half boards. Gomez fed it in front. Kick back. Guerin drive. And it's kicked aside. Taking it as Timonen, 18 to go. Tries to clear it. Gets it back out to center. U.S. has to regroup. And they lose the puck there. It's stashed back in deep. Kachuk chasing it down with Jokinen. They bang on the boards and glass with 6 to go. And we get a signal of an icing, I think. Sure enough, clock frozen with 4, and they'll probably want to reset that.
JR, you were trying to get across there that Mika Kiprusoff was without a stick for 30 seconds. And that is when Rafalski and Modano were playing pitch and catch. And they didn't know. They never were able to get a shot off, or chose not to get a shot off, and never took advantage of Kiprusoff without a stick.
Well, I think the fans did a great job in trying to relay that message. They're all saying, shoot, shoot, shoot.
But they do that anyway all the time, so.
But the puck was bouncing, and Mike Modano couldn't get a control of it, and they lost a golden opportunity to put that puck in the net.
And this is going to have to be a bang-bang play here with 6.2 to go. The right-hander, Smolinski, in for the face-off, and Amandi in the shooting hole, and he gets it and shoots.
Kiprusoff hanging on to that, drew another whistle, 3.7 to go, still time.
Still time. But boy, with Kiprusoff in his zone, and the Finns playing so well, we should not be surprised if this game ends just the way it is, 2-1. Team USA knew what they were up against. This game could have gone either way. We knew it was going to be an evenly matched game, and the Team USA would be up against an incredible goalie and a great defense.
Smolinski to draw with Jokinen. Brad Lazarowicz getting them set. Smolinski win again. He's got Amandi behind him in the shooting hole. Off the draw, fed on by Timonen, cleared back out by Koivu, and Team Finland has come from behind in the game. They pour off the bench to congratulate Mika Kiprusoff and themselves on a 2-1 victory over the United States.
Take a look at this scrum. That says it all about the cohesion, the pride, the togetherness of this Finnish team. This is what they are all about. This is how they win, and this is how they celebrate when they've won. What an effort by everybody, led by their courageous little captain, Saku Koivu.
What a situation they put themselves in. A team that's just been on the brink, that just can't get over the top and getting to that gold medal in any kind of international competition. Well, they have a chance now playing either the Czechs or the Canadians, but they don't care who they play right now. They're just happy that they're there right now.
Inspired, come from behind, win by Finland. 2-1, they move on to the final. Tomorrow, the other spot in the final determined when Team Canada battles the Czech Republic on ESPN2 at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. Coming up next, baseball tonight. Tonight's game has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For all of us here, good night from St. Paul.